you're comfortable, then be comfortable.
Then be comfortable.
When Brad was in high school, he got a hold of like some screen printing stuff, like to put screen prints on clothing.
Yeah.
And this was when the whole like Warren Jeffs thing was really blowing up.
like when he was getting arrested, or
yeah, I can't remember like at what interval we were at, because I think Warren Jeffs got arrested, and you know, for those who don't know, Warren Jeffs was a fundamentalist Mormon
prophet
is what
but
they'll
he
call him.
has since in prison said I'm not a prophet.
Yeah, so he went to prison, and then he went to like deep prison when they found when they got into his
temple
off of a fake tip. The woman,
yes, it was a fake tip. That's
someone
right.
Just called it in and had a hunch that like, and it totally panned out. But anyway, Brad being Brad decided to like print the dude's face like on a shirt, and it just says "believe" down at the bottom.
Believe.
And he wore it like to school, dude. And I'm like, no one brought it up. Like no one challenged him on it. He wore it to like seminary. Even.
I was gonna say, did he go to seminary classes with that?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, at that time.
That's awesome.
But the joke that we would say all the time was like, he would imitate Warren Jeffs, and we'd be like, be comfortable, be comfortable. I don't know why. Never heard him actually say that, but yeah, be comfortable.
You know, you can see his dad having done that, because the stories about his dad where he'd have all of his wives line up at nighttime to give him a good night kiss, and then he'd pick one of them to stay with him for the night.
How wild.
Like,
man.
you can imagine in that scenario, this old, crinkly, disgusting man taking some 15-year-old being like, be comfortable.
Yeah.
Be comfortable.
As he's kissing his like very, very young bride. Yeah, Brad was a bit of an edgelord in high school. What can you say?
Seriously?
But not like the kind of edgelord you think, like deep tissue social edgelord, like local politics stuff.
That shit's funny.
Do another pre-con episode.
Yay.
Do another pre-con.
I like these.
Okay. I know, it's like back to back. I've been on like a tear for a little bit for this one. Well, not back to back, but in the same calendar month, which matters.
Yeah.
We have decks that we've played for a while. This is just kind of the preamble for these. We have decks that we've played for a while, and they've picked up capital. Like we've got upgrades.
Yeah.
Put more money into them. And over time, they just get further and further from being affordable.
Yeah, I think something you and I found as content creators is that when you're talking about deck lists on a podcast, accessibility is important. And so these entrenched decks aren't accessible.
Yeah. So the idea behind this is I wind back time a little bit and really kind of look at it through a different lens. Kyle does with his episodes too, when he covers like the decks he's, pre-conning.
Yeah.
And make a cheaper version of the deck I use, and really try to come close to doing 1-to-1 replacement if I can.
Sure.
With more budgety options. Yeah, because to me, it's kind of like you hear people advocate for the deck they play all the time. Like everybody wants to talk about the deck they make, or the deck they have, or the deck they have this experience with. And if you really want to go out and try it and purchase the cards, you could be kind of, you could be out quite a bit, and it might not be something you like.
Yeah.
Because you can goldfish anything of mine. Like you can jump on my Architect and see what I have. But that
doesn't tell you what it is in the real world.
Right. That's really, especially this one.
Oh,
so that's the idea, is to walk back time, give a good starting point, and it's coming from a space of more experience rather than probably work. Seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I think we did some pre-cons way back in the day where feels right, but I don't know.
I think, because we did some that were like, I haven't done this, but like, try it out.
Yeah.
I did build one. It needs some changes.
Yeah, I need some changes. So this is Athreos, God of Passage. Really cool legend. Really, really cool legend.
Yeah.
I think it's used for not cool things, being it's pretty well known for a Shadowborn Apostles build where
so you is it 5 or 6?
I think it's
you sack?
5 of them. Yeah, you get 5 down. Well, let's just look it up, right? Like, I had a clutch of them and sold them. Shadowborn Apostle. Yeah, it's 1 mana. A deck can have any number of cards named Shadowborn Apostle. You sacrifice, sorry, I was wrong. Sacrifice 6 creatures named Shadowborn Apostle, search your library for a demon creature, and put it into the battlefield, then shuffle. It's a 1/1 human cleric. So the idea is that you load the deck full of cleric and care about cleric cards like Edge Realmwalker or whatever, and this, and you get enough out, sack them, ask one person to pay, 3 times 6 for that amount, right? Because like every time you sack, you have to, the Athreos trigger goes up, and then you shove your demon to play, rinse and repeat, and then have a way to like reanimate them all and do it again. You go get Razaketh or whatever, the one that can,
that's the real brutal one.
It just keeps tutoring more stuff in. So I think that's what it's mostly known for. I actually don't know of any other ways to people build it popularity wise.
Sure.
I don't know if the EDH rec page says anything
I'll go
different.
take a look at
but
EDH
while
rec.
we're looking that up, let me look up Athreos, right? Athreos, God of Passage. It's a 1, a white, and a black for a 5/4 legendary enchantment creature god. It has indestructible. As long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature. So here's the part that matters, right? This last line. Whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life.
Yeah, so pretty solid ability. And then in terms of EDH rec things, by far, Shadowborn Apostles is the top tag on it. I think they switched over to tags instead of saying necessarily archetypes. Aristocrats comes in a distant second, followed by life gain. And then this one you can surmise is probably Shadowborn Apostles. Is the 4th one is demons.
Just demons.
So
it's my Athreos demon deck without Shadowborn Apostles.
Yeah.
You know what? Respect, brother. While ago, long time ago, I came into our Discord, our Patreon Discord, and said, this was July 8th of 2021 at 6:14 p.m.
Ooh,
I was like, has anyone run / encountered an Athreos deck that wasn't a Shadowborn Apostles deck? What's the take? And so some people came in. I've seen it's good on a budget. It struggles with things early, whatever. So people are just kind of giving me responses. Somebody came in saying, would Athreos with Goonies be good? It seems like a win-win to me. Goonies for me and Kyle is like reassembling skeleton, Gravecrawler, really just like a creature that dies, but really doesn't die.
You can recycle kind of in a self-contained engine on the card.
That's not a crazy idea. I think it would just always go back to your hand because people are like, well, you can just cast it from your graveyard anyway, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to pay life to make it go there.
Yeah. So but then someone came in and posted something. This is our very, very own Micah says, once I played against an Athreos deck at my LGS, they played a ton of board wipes and cheap value creatures. The main thing I remember was that they played Golden Glow Moth over and over again and gained so much life because no one ever wanted to pay 3 to keep it in the yard. So just to throw what Golden Glow Moth is out, right? It's a 1 mana insect with flying. It's a 0/1. And it just says whenever it blocks, you gain 4 life. So if you end up blocking with the Golden Glow Moth, you just pick up 4 life for no reason, or for the effect. And then I respond with, well, because it's like, who wants to pay for that to keep it in the yard? Like, who wants to pay for a Golden Glow Moth? But he's got this like perpetual blocker that all he needs to do is just reserve a plains and keep putting it back out. And Micah hits back with, right, the creatures don't have to be good. They just need to accumulate some tiny advantage and also be super cheap. And there it was, man. Set me down a path and a few other people who were kind of like watching this conversation go on. Yeah. Looking at a deck from a different lens, completely different lens. A couple days later, I come in and say, hey, I'm looking for some help. A while back, Micah said they encountered a deck for Athreos 1.0 because I think we already had the 2.1. And I just got a bunch of recommendations from people. So to pack up what this deck is going to be about, but whatever. Yeah. We want this deck to have creatures in it that are not valueless, but they're not worth paying my opponent to pay 3 life. Right. I'll add an extra layer to that also, which we want creatures to be in the deck that might be specifically targeting something where we can look at our three opponents and decide, yeah, they wouldn't care about this.
Yeah, so maybe not everyone has an appetite to let you have it back in your hand, but as long as somebody likely has an appetite to not pay 3 life.
Yeah. So I set out, I make the deck, I bring it to church, and I sit down to play. And 2 things happened that night. I think I played it like 2 or 3 times. Played with Chris, and he was playing a Bosch deck, Bosch Iron Golem. And I had a Shriekmaw, and I would evoke the Shriekmaw, targeting Kyle's non-black thing and destroying it, but then asking Chris, because you can't destroy an artifact either, an artifact creature with it, asking Chris if he wants to pay the 3 life to keep it in my graveyard.
Yeah, because this is a scenario like somebody else, you could say, hey, I'm not going to target your stuff. I just want to target Kyle's stuff.
I'm not even allowed to, really. He's got nothing but artifact creatures going on.
But somebody else, they might be like, this could bite me because later you might want to destroy my stuff. But in Chris's case, he's like, I don't know, you're never going to get to my stuff. So,
and Chris reasoned it like, I'm in mono red and I have an 8-mana commander that you can't target and I won't get life back, I don't think. So sure, man, I'll pass. You can have it back to your hand. And Kyle loved it, let's say. Kyle adored this.
I was freaking out.
Eventually, Brad intervened on this whole thing.
I don't even remember what I was playing.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But I was able to just kind of reshoot the Shriekmaw whenever. Because I think you were playing like an Azorius deck or something.
Probably.
Brad also just kind of like got himself involved and got in the way or whatever. But that was like the first interaction. Next game I had where this was you this time. I had like 3 or 4 just 1/1 flyers out, and board white came down and they all just got crushed. And I'm like, hey Kyle, how much? 3, 3, 3, and you're like, yeah, I'll pay it all. You just paid it all.
That's right, because we were trying to figure out the philosophy of how to play against that deck.
You just like paid it all and 8-12 damage, and I'm like, well, geez, I don't have anything left to do, so. Wound reflection, and I just would resolve it, and you're like, oh fuck. And you just lost 24 for doing that, because I wanted to re-resolve these guys, but instead it was like, well, okay,
I mean, if I can't,
if you can't, then that's that. So stuff like that has happened. We played a game at the Magic Summit. You remember this one?
Which, by the way, little issues around that.
What?
They canceled it this year.
They did?
Oh, their website doesn't exist anymore.
That's too bad.
Either.
That's too bad. Oh well. We're at the Magic Summit thing, which is here in Salt Lake City, or was RIP. And we're playing against Commander Theory Nick's Felden deck, and we are dying.
That is a very.
Everyone is in trouble. Everyone
I've played against
is worried.
Felden, but I haven't played against that.
Yeah,
Felden.
it was moving.
That Felden
it was moving
ripping.
really fast, and I pull out. I managed to get it. My Heap Doll. It's just a 1-mana artifact. You sack it to exile a creature or a target card from a graveyard. That's all. And you know who I'm not going to ask to pay on Athreos. And I was just camping. Anytime anything hit Nick's yard, I'm just pushing it out just so we can't have Felden copies of it. And it was slowing him down quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And he's just like, I just can't believe this. Like his
Heap Doll is managing his deck.
Because it's never anywhere where he can get it, And finally he ends up just like dumping every combat he can at me just to shove me out and I die. But do you think these stories illustrate what this deck is really about?
Absolutely, they illustrate what the deck is about.
Another story, I think I've told this one on the podcast, but this was a pretty infamous one that Brad was not happy about. Brad was playing Faldorn, Exile, play stuff from Exile and get Wolf's Girl.
Yes.
Right? Wolf Girl.
Including playing lands or casting spells from Exile. Yeah. You get them whiffs.
He had one hell of a start. Azusa, just extra land plays, and he was shoving a lot of stuff into Exile. And he has a lot of wolves. I think he was up to, I don't know.
It was a lot.
I was having trouble seeing what kind of art his playmat was.
Yeah, his playmat was not obvious anymore.
Cardboard. So he ends up exiling a Crater Hoof that's good until the next turn. It was one of those exile effects where he has until his next turn.
Yeah.
It's like we're done, right? Like we're looking at the math.
Yeah,
None of us are really
see
anywhere.
he has enough vessels for the crater hoof.
Yeah, and I say, I have a way to kill him. I just need your guys' participation in doing so.
Yeah.
And you're like, if you can kill him, we're ready to go.
I just don't want that shit pointed back at me.
It, right? So the way it worked out is I had a sack outlet, and I had a I think it was just carrion feeder. Actually, I had carrion feeder. I had a shambling ghast, which one of its die modes is it just leaves a treasure behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a disciple of the vault. So 3 1-mana creatures.
Yeah.
And Athreos out, and that's enough to kill him. Because I would say, okay, I'm going to sack the shambling ghast to the carrion feeder. Choose the option to leave a treasure behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, do you pass on
You can have it back in your hand, Andy.
Right back in your hand, bro. It's back in my hand immediately. Not end of turn, not whatever. It's now. That's what's so crazy about this. Use the treasure, which now sets off the Disciple of the Vault, targeting Brad and having him lose 1 to recast that same card. The Shambling Ghast is now back, and we just do this until Brad's out.
It was a bizarre situation because normally in those situations you could choose 2 people to kind of just like lower them all down. Because if you have one person agreeing with you to do this, you could end 2 people out of the game, right?
Yes.
But Tiff and I were kind of like, you can end Brad.
Yeah, I'm not willing to kill off Tiff yet or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So that also kind of brings us into where this deck goes, right? Brad felt completely singled out, but fuck him, we were about to die.
You had Crater Hoof and a bunch of bodies.
Yeah,
come on.
Come on. What'd you want us to do? Yeah. But you're right. Like I could just say, hey, should we keep going and lower Tiff down or whatever? Or hey, Tiff, do you want me to whatever? I think you said off the outset, like I'm not going to do it anymore past his, I'll use my 3 life.
Yeah.
And I'll just you don't have to use your 3 life. I'll just leave it out. I just won't do that last, I'll use that last treasure.
Yeah.
For not resolving it or whatever. I can't remember where we stopped, but he was gone. The deck puts you in this position. It puts you and your opponents in this position. To me, it's like the essence of a commander game to me.
Yeah, I don't think that's an experience you can't create in any other format, right?
Yeah. I need an opponent. Like if it's 1v1, it's what the hell is this? What the hell are we doing?
Right.
Right. So you need someone to participate. And that kind of goes back to the original post. We need something that gives us value-ish, but not something that's just too powerful where no, fuck that. It goes away. It's totally worth 3 life.
Yeah.
It can start backfiring pretty bad. People can just start kind of working against you. Like we're just going to pay on these, right, guys? To that, you just default to picking the person that's the lowest because they lose the most. The closer they start going into single digits, the more...
and it's hard to dig out against that deck when you get there.
Exactly. The other weakness it has is life gain. If people are gaining life, it just doesn't work. They have just the spare change to buy bullshit, essentially.
Right.
Golden glow moths and shambling ghasts.
Right.
So if their life is coming up, you're in. It's not good. I had a game where I had gotten Cody down very low. I mean, he was like at 3 life or something like that. He was playing Prosper.
Okay.
And he ended up resolving. It's like the Pontiff of Blight that gives all of your creatures extort, and he just, dude, it was like I lost. He just slipped right out of my hands like a frog and just hopped away. I had him right where I wanted him, which is really low life, where he basically can't. I don't need to do the politicking anymore. I can just start rotating stuff that matters.
Yeah, like just one low mana value spell and then extort. And it digs you right on out.
Because he had so much treasure left over from Prosper that like every spell he had all of this excess mana. Yeah. It was actually a pretty cool way to take out. He won. It was pretty cool. I was like, that's actually pretty cool for Prosper, because you can pay whatever off you just throw the treasure at the extort cost. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I like that.
But that can happen. People rubber banding and gaining life. That's not good for this deck.
Bad news.
I don't have a lot of like budget ways to lock that down.
Sure.
So I'm just putting out the weaknesses. Yeah. So weaknesses are people just don't participate.
Mm-hmm.
But you can punish them for doing it. I have some of that kind of built in the list. Yeah. And then really just being like, you need to be a little bit of a silver tongued devil where, hey, Chris, like none of your stuff can be targeted by Shriekmaw. Do you really want to give these people 3 life?
Yeah, like you got to point
and I
stuff
can manage
out.
their threats. Like I'm going to take this thing out now, but you kind of have to throttle back. I think in that case, I was a little too heavy-handed with the Shriekmaw. I was just gatting your thing over and over again. I shouldn't have done that. I should have just done the thing that needed to go and then let you breathe.
It seems like you vacillate in theory on that. Like there's times I think where you're kind of like, if I can control it, I will.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times you're like, well, maybe I need to not entirely piss people off.
I do.
Like
I do. You're right. You're totally right.
Yeah. It seems like your philosophy on that changes.
I need to be better. It's a hard deck to pilot. I think it's a really big weakness. It's hard to pilot and you really got to know who you're playing with. Although I've just been getting like a lot of messages in Discord about people playing strangers with this thing and it seems to go fine. Like,
oh, interesting.
It seems to go fine. People don't.
Well,
there's other shit. It's not a 1v1 game. There's other stuff that's more of a problem than the crap that's in this deck list.
Reflecting on those early games, we didn't know what to do. Like there isn't a good philosophy for whether or not garbage cards should go to the graveyard or not.
Right.
Like people just, if they haven't played against the deck, they don't have a theory about where your garbage cards belong.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like Brad and you are like, if it draws you cards, I'm going to pay. If it drains life, I'm going to pay. Those are like, no question.
Yeah. Everything else, like you do have some things like put a -1 counter. If I'm worried about that, like maybe, but if you're using it on someone else, probably not.
Yeah.
Anyways, but you'll get into the types of cards that are in the deck. So
one last thing that's a bit of a weakness of the deck. It will break your fucking head.
It's a lot of thinking, right?
I mean like you'll obsess over it.
Yeah.
Every time there's a new release, like this new one that we're getting for Foundations, there's always new cards that are like, it's some 30-cent common or something. There's always something that you want to try out. I kind of made the comment that you could probably build multiple versions with completely different junk in the 99 because there's so much draft chaff nowadays or forever that you'll probably be okay. And they won't look a lot alike.
And apparently the draft chaff is designed, at least that's my understanding, is that like they don't design bad cards for draft anymore. Like there's weaker cards, of course, but like it's probably a better era
weaker
now
in the commander context.
Yeah, it's probably a better era for Athreos than maybe it used to be.
Oh yeah, there's always something cool coming down, and so in our Discord, there's like a little sub thread that's kind of buried underneath some of the conversation that's going on, and it's just called the Cult of Athreos.
Yeah,
and it's probably one of like the most active sub threads in our Discord where people are conversing, and then you'll have someone like join, and they want to take it a different route, and then there'll be like a picture of somebody in this pile of junk that they're throwing together. Like, I'm just going to try it today. I spent no money. I have Athreos. That was the big piece. Let me just see how it goes. And then like a day later, it was actually pretty cool. That actually was, that was dope. So it's a lot of fun. I just want to get everyone out there, I just want you to know what the weaknesses are and what's required. It is not your typical deck. It just isn't. It just isn't. There isn't a do this and win.
No,
you got to have a little bit of a audience participation, which I love. It's my favorite deck. We'll just say that it's my favorite. Yeah. It's my favorite commander deck, right? Like has been since I made it. Should we get into it?
Let's do.
How does the deck win, Andy? If it's all full of junk? Well, it is an Aristocrats deck. Like, make no mistake. You have to win using Orzhov, so you're going to do what Orzhov is best at. Creatures dying is on the name of your commander, so creatures dying is something that we're interested in. We're like looking to mine those triggers. There's different philosophies on how to go about that. Right. I've recently pivoted to not have things that hit everyone, like any kind of drainer that hits everybody, like Zulaport Cutthroat, for example. Creature you control dies, all your opponents lose a life. I'm trying let's target one person instead of have everyone lose the life.
Yeah, so like a la Falconwrath Noble.
Right. Falconwrath Noble is perfect. It's one person loses life. I almost wish I didn't gain life because then there's this swing.
Yeah. You don't want the
I know
attention.
that sounds crazy, but it's true. Like you really don't want people like paying too much attention to you because you don't have good cards. Your card quality is very low. And that's the strength of the deck. It really is. It's like, it's, do you ever play StarCraft?
I played StarCraft 2 a few times with you and Brad.
Yeah. You remember the Zerg?
Uh-huh.
The Zerg won by just quickly getting the shittiest units
It's just
out.
a volume thing.
Right. It's a volume quantity thing. I don't think this is a really great comparison, but that's where their strength lies, is not their T3 late stage powerful tech. They don't really have it. They have strong guys that come in late game, but like they're really, really strong in numbers and getting these like pound for pound at the bottom parts of stuff. There's it's a bit weird because it's like a triangle, you know.
But there's a reason there's language in that space of like
Zerg rush.
Yeah, exactly. A Zerg rush.
You just rush out a bunch of stuff. And I think in our format, the best way to think of it is like White Weenie or Boros Aggro or, Red Deck Wins is probably the best way to think about it. I think here you're just thinking, I get a lot of creatures out that cost 1 mana, and should they die, I have a pretty strong trigger to point at different people and lower life totals, or they go, I don't care about that. Put it back in your hand.
Yeah, you kind of found like a Zerg long game hack.
But the stronger those cards are, so like let's say I resolve a, I don't know, what's the Esper Sentinel, right? Yeah. It's a strong card. People aren't really going to be likely to pay or to pass on the life total to let you keep your Esper Sentinel.
Right.
That doesn't fit the bill. It's a 1 mana card. It's a 1/1. It's Skull Clamp compliant. It's all of the things that you're okay with, but people will just usually throw away 3 life to stop the volume of cards that are coming off that one.
Like you having options is a bad idea.
Exactly. But if you have something like, I don't know, what is it? What's the weird Shiba Inu dog that enters the battlefield and draws you a card? Spirited Companion.
Yeah.
If you have Spirited Companion, that's twice the mana and only gets you 1 card, on entrance.
So when it enters, you draw a card.
Yeah, so people are probably more likely to go, I actually don't want to pay 3 life right now. If they're like at 12,
totally.
I don't see them.
Not worth
I don't
it.
see them going down into single digits for a Spirited Companion. But I could see it for the other one. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
so
totally.
That's like maybe it's a bad analogy, but that's like the Zerg part of this, is that you want cheap equipment and that gives you strength, and don't be afraid of it. Because I've had parts, my deck actually, I think there's a lot of stuff that needs to come out because it's too strong. I'm like, I never get this thing back. It dies. I have to solve for this later.
Which is interesting that you actually get that like user feedback as you're playing of like, I didn't think people would pay to leave this in the yard, but they kind of are.
Right. Have to change my plan.
Yeah.
I should just be playing Lysa 2.0 if that's what I want to run. Right?
Yeah.
So like, I think there was a minute where I had one that was just like auto exiling graveyards. I think what is it? The Douthie Voidwalker.
Yes.
Like, well, for somebody who isn't using their graveyard,
there should be somebody around.
They'd pass on the life. Somebody's not using their graveyard. No, it's too strong. They're like, you're getting too many cards. I'm actually going to pay.
Yeah.
Because it gives you access to the cards with the counters on it.
Right. So they're like, you need to find another yard hate card.
Exactly. That's when I got the Heap Doll. Like if Kyle has no graveyard or has no plans to use his graveyard, he's only helping Brad if Brad's in the graveyard or if Tiff's in the like, you see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll hook you up. But if I have Douthie Voidwalker, you're like, I don't know, man. You're getting access to a lot of stuff. I don't know if I'm into that.
Yeah.
See? Do you see?
Conundrums for each and every card.
This will drive you crazy. This deck is a blessing and a curse. This like nuance will drive you crazy. Because there'll be games where you're like, fuck, I didn't do anything. Yeah, because
I feel like if you're a deck tweaker, you need to have an Athreos deck so that like that deck can just occupy you. Your other stuff can kind of just
I hate it. All right, let's get into this. The list I came up with is $57.97. However, the commander themselves is $14.99 of that cost on this Archidect website. So I think I got it down pretty far.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
For the budget version. My version is not budget. It has a lot of like expensive SAC outlets and things like that in it.
Yeah.
That jump the price up. But honestly, it's not really worth it. Like it's not that big of a powered like the differential between the two is like ground beef and ground turkey in your chili. It's not a big jump. It's not really a big jump. I honestly don't think my version of the deck is worth its price. I just have the cards already.
Sure.
So I'll point out where they're coming from, but yeah. Let's start with ramp. It's really low. I'm not running a lot of ramp. The deck has 37 lands, but only 4 ramp sources in the deck.
Can we talk about that for a minute? Because this has been something you've been back and forth on.
Yeah.
About this.
Yeah. The curve's really low.
Yeah.
On this, because there are a lot of 1/1s. That's really what I'm going for. I really want 1/1 flyers. My version of this list, I'll talk about some of the other people that we converse with about this thing and their version, but I value 1/1 flyers because they're good for just absorbing lots of damage from aggro from any space, like sort of unblockable, right? So
and frankly, a lot of ramp, because you are interested in color pips because you're like resolution of 1 creature, 2 creature, 3 creature.
Yeah.
So color pips are important.
Yes.
So like a lot of the mana rocks that produce colorless are kind of useless.
Yeah. And they're in your way. Like the best thing for you to do is turn 1, you play a 1/1 creature.
Mm-hmm.
Turn 2, you do 2 more. And then turn 3, you just get Athreos down.
Yeah, so like
now you have 3 creatures
would be,
a Signet's just going to choke you up.
Yeah, and it's demanding in terms of how you use it, right?
Exactly. So it's 37 lands and 4 ramp spells, but a lot of draw.
Yeah,
like
so you're like, I'm staying on curve.
There's a pretty deep draw. Ramp is $2.28. I've got Loyal Warhound, 1 and a white for a 3/1 dog with vigilance. When a Loyal Warhound enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a basic plains card and put it into the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. If someone's playing green, this is very likely to work.
Yeah.
Or you hold off. You only have 2 before you play your 3rd land. You Warhound, then play your 3rd. You went from 2 to 4. Just know how to white ramp works, you know? Pilgrim's Eye, it's a 3 mana, 1/1 flyer. I really value flyers. Flying, when the Pilgrim's Eye enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. So it goes into hand, but
keeps you on curve.
Solemn Simulacrum was a little too much for this right now.
Yeah.
And it's 4 mana, where this is 3, and it doesn't fly. Scouting Hawk, 2 and a white for a 1/1 flying, has Keen Sight. When Scouting Hawk enters the battlefield, if an opponent controls more lands than you, search your library for a basic plains card and put it in the battlefield tapped and shuffle. So it's almost like exactly the same thing as that Warhound, except for it's a flyer.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, I just love this card. I probably love it too much. It's the Restoration of Iganjo. It's 2 and a white for an enchantment saga. And you're like, well, this is not a creature. Well, hang on a second, right? It's 2 and a white, enters its first chapter, verse, whatever. You search your library for a basic plains, reveal it, and then put it into your hand, then shuffle. Then chapter 2 is that you can discard a card, and when you do, return target permanent card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
Which is like most of your deck.
That's like most of your deck, but like if it's a fetch land or something like that, it's almost like double duty for you, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And then the last thing is that it flips over into this thing called the Architect of Restoration. It's a 3/4 enchantment creature, Fox Monk, that has vigilance, and whenever it attacks or blocks, create a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. So it ends up turning itself into a creature. So if it dies in this mode, someone either needs to lose 3 life or give it back to you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Recapturing a 3 mana spell that goes and finds you another plains and then maybe kind of reanimates another 2 mana creature or 1 mana creature. It's a pretty nice loop.
Yeah, I like that.
On a budget. Let's just get into draw while we're at it. 13 draw sources in the deck. Yeah. Draw's a bit interesting with this list. You end up getting the same card back to hand a lot of the time, but it's by just the very nature of the deck.
Yeah.
So, but you do need to start getting towards things that improve your grip on the game, and mainly the aristocrat style stuff that's later on. That's what we're kind of hunting for.
Can I ask you, do you ever find yourself feeling deceived by the fact that you're popping stuff back into hand? Like, because I think a good signal to an element of a good game later as you get to the mid game is whether or not you still have a healthy sized hand.
Yeah.
This deck could give you that impression, even though it's all just the stuff that you started with, right? Like, you could have stuff that's died, popped back to your hand.
Uh-huh.
So, like, have you ever been You're sitting in a game. You're like, man, I feel like I'm not advancing as much as I'd like, but I've got a good grip. But it's all just stuff that's died. Like, or
maybe
I could sense maybe being deceived by not having enough draw in your deck.
Yeah.
And that could be a problem. I mean, you clearly have identified you still need to draw.
Yeah, you need to draw. You can jund them out when your card quality's higher. If your card quality is really low, and when I say card quality, I just mean like it's just a banger card for its mana cost.
Yeah.
Most of us, if you look at every list, fucking ever, they're just loaded with
there's bangers,
and we call them staples, whatever you want to call them. You know, when you let go of card quality, what you should pick up in its place, to my mind, is velocity. Where so now you start thinking like if you're thinking like a spell slinger, that would be a cantrip. A cantrip is low card quality, but it has high card velocity in that it's only 1 mana and sometimes even less, and it reveals another card. It's just there to set off a trigger for the other high quality things I have. If I'm playing Joyra 2.0, it's some egg. Like eggs are low quality cards, but they're high velocity.
Because there's draw associated with Joyra and those cards.
Yeah, the mana value is so low, and the reward for having her in your command zone is so high, you don't want to do big banger artifacts like, I don't know, Portal to Phyrexia, which is a really powerful, high quality card, but it's 9 mana and she's only going to give you 1 card for it.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, yeah, that could be somewhere in the deck if you have a way to cheat it in or something, but like most of the deck, its individual components will be low quality, high velocity artifacts.
Yeah.
In the case for Athreos, when stuff comes back to my hand, I think what you're saying is maybe the opponent sees I just have all these cards in hand and they're thinking, oh, he's got a fully loaded grip. But 4 out of the 3 we've already seen. Yeah, we've already seen them either just now because he sacked them into his hand or we had a board wipe or something.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping that these 3 other cards either talk to those 4,
Yeah.
or hopefully get me further into the deck if they're just more of those. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's a weird diversion, but I can see decks like this deceiving you into thinking that you've seen more cards than you actually have.
Yeah.
Unless you're really adamant about your card draw being there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good question. I like having more draw in my decks just because of the nature of my meta, right? Like we're tutor.
Yeah.
So I'm more of like north of 10. Where here I'm like at 13, I'm not super above that number a lot because I kind of expect these to come into my hand multiple times.
Yeah.
They just kind of get in the way and people go, yeah, I don't want to pay for that in my experience. Right? Mileage may vary. Wall of Omens, 1 and a white for a 0/4 defender. When Wall of Omens enters the battlefield, draw a card. Tarian's Journal is not a creature, but it's a permanent. It's 99 cents. It's an artifact, legendary artifact. You can pay 1 and a black, and then you can tap, sacrifice another artifact or creature, draw a card, activate this only as a sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
That holds every fucking buddy back. It's a sorcery only thing, but you need to be on sorcery anyway because what you're likely to sack is a creature.
Yeah.
You want to just turn around and re-resolve it, and you really don't want to you want to avoid paying mana to sack things because the mana's got to go back to the creature.
Re-resolve.
Yeah, like if I sack the Wall of Omens, I need 2 mana to re-resolve Wall of Omens.
Right.
Yeah. It's also, let me see. It's got 2 discard your hand, transform Tarian's Journal. God. And then it turns into a land called the Tomb of Aclazotz. It can tap and add black, or you can tap and you may cast a creature spell from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it, and it's a vampire in addition to its other types. I've never done that.
Sure.
I am totally okay with finality counters. Totally, totally okay. I think people are they're too crazy about trying to avoid them.
Yeah.
But again, card quality versus quantity or velocity, the quality is really low. I can't think of anywhere I'd want to take all these extra. I think I just value this more as a draw source than I do the reanimation.
Sure. That makes sense.
Spirited Companion, we already talked about this. It's 1 and a white for a 1/1 enchantment creature dog. When the Spirited Companion enters the battlefield, draw a card. I just don't get a lot of people paying life to get this back into to keep it away.
Yeah.
Scornblade Berserker. This one's sick as fuck because it's a sack outlet and a draw source. It's black for a 0/1 human Berserker. It has backup of 1. You can pay 1, sacrifice this creature, and draw a card, but it bestows that ability to something else, the backup ability. So I could have my Wall of Omens down, right? Do the Scornblade Berserker, have Scornblade Berserker put the counter and the backup ability, which is the kill itself draw a card, on the Wall of Omens. Pay it, draw, ask Kyle, hey, do you want to pay 3 life for Wall of Omens? He can pass on it or whatever, but I've drawn the card.
It's a pretty valuable chain.
Later on, it has that ability. So I can later on say, hey, do you want to play another 3 life? Now you've paid 6 life to stop me from drawing 2 cards.
And that one's really subtle because it puts you in a position where it itself and another creature can have the ability to draw cards for you.
It's like a little moving.
It's really subtle.
Little moving way to zone change things. Like zone changing permanence is the name of the game. We are looking to zone change.
Honestly, that might be valuable in a lot of other decks. Just that's a card I hadn't really thought about, but
yeah, it's a 35-cent common or uncommon.
It's an uncommon.
Yeah, an uncommon. Morbid Opportunist. It's got that like limiter on it of once a turn, but it's 2 and a black for a 1/3. Whenever 1 or more creatures die, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Can trigger off your turn. You got other people combating into each other, but you can rely on it to at least give you 1 card a turn. Midnight Reaper and Grim Haruspex. I'm not going to get into the details about them, but essentially whenever a creature you control dies, you either lose a life or 1 deals damage to you and you draw a card. The Midnight Reaper sees itself. Oh, and they have to be non-token. That's the other thing.
Non-token.
But you lose a life, draw a card. These are the ones that I think you guys will go after. If they happen to die, it seems like my play group is pretty into paying the 3 life to get rid of them. Because they're an ongoing thing that doesn't require any new mana.
Right. Like I don't have, I don't know. Philosophies about keeping people from drawing cards are interesting, right? Because
it's true.
I think mine have changed a little bit because people get, I'm willing to let people draw cards a little more than I used to be just because people get really bummed out when they lose their card draw.
When you get in the way.
Yeah. But with stuff like this.
Yeah.
Where I know that sack outlets can start getting into the loop, and it's not something where it's like, oh, it's a Phyrexian arena. 1 time around the table, Andy gets a card. They could really turn into a lot of extra cards.
I think it's wise.
And so those ones, I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to have those because it's netting you a lot of cards if we let it go.
Yeah, I think it's totally wise to let them go to the yard.
Yeah.
That seems to be the ones that, outside of the things that just add additional life loss, that seems to be the ones where your opponent will likely go, yes, I actually do want to pay the 3 and let it go.
Yeah.
My advice there is to pick the person that will lose the most.
Right.
And that's usually the person that's already at the lowest, either because they're just taking a beating or they're paying life themselves into shit, but it costs the guy at 10 life more life than the guy at 30 if it's just the 3. It's
a higher portion of their total life.
10 to 7, which is 7/7 lurking. Like all they need to do is have an unblock from a 5/5 and a 2/2 and they're out.
Yeah.
If I take a 5/5 and a 2/2 at 30, I still have a game to play. Just some my advice. You kind of know who's got the appetite to pay for it. And the guy, the lower they are, the less I just can't. And you'll get to that point where
I start to worry when I see anybody get below 20 against this deck because I'm like, shit, Andy's got his target.
He'll just camp him. Yeah. I don't love that. I wish I could be more fluid and be like, hey man, you don't care about this because XYZ. I want to be that guy. But the games lately are just moving so quickly.
Yeah.
Either somebody's just paying life like crazy into some effect and I just go, okay, let's see how much it's worth to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fell Stinger, 2 and a black. It's kind of like a bigger version of the Berserker that we talked about. 2 and a black for a 3/2 zombie scorpion. It's got death touch and has exploit. So to remind, when they enter the battlefield, you can either have it sack itself or another creature, just something, and then you get the exploit ability, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, so you may sacrifice a creature. When Fell Stinger exploits a creature, target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. I love this thing. It's fucking awesome. It's this deck's analog of the Night's Whisper.
Yeah.
And Night's Whisper just doesn't have a place in a deck like this because we can't abuse it. We're here.
Yeah, you only get
Fell
it once.
Stinger. I can eat a creature. Kyle, do you want to pay 3? No. Okay, well, that's back in my hand, and I draw 2. So,
Yeah.
Erebus the Bleak-Hearted. This is not Kyle's Erebus. 3 and a black for a 5/6 legendary enchantment creature god. Indestructible as long as your devotion to black is less than 5. Erebus isn't a creature. Okay, here's the part we care about. Whenever another creature you control dies, you can pay 2 life. If you do, draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty heavy compared to those others, but this is an indestructible thing that's sitting off to the side.
Yeah.
Also, you can pay 1 and a black and sacrifice another creature. Target creature gets -2, -1 until end of turn.
Really dynamic and useful, right?
Yeah. It's a 99-cent sack outlet that draws you cards.
That's awesome. I was surprised to see this as that cheap.
Callous Blood Mage. I used to put this in every black deck I had. 2 and a black for a 2/1 Vampire Warlock. When Callous Blood Mage enters the battlefield, choose 1. You can create a 1/1 black and green pest creature token with when this creature token dies, or when this creature dies, you gain 1 life.
Those tokens are like the biggest mouthful, right along with the Phyrexian
when they have
mites.
the width, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can draw a card and lose 1 life, or you can exile target player's graveyard. This thing fucking rips.
It's dynamic.
This thing rips. You can do Nim Death Mantle combos with this thing. You can nuke people's precious goddamn yards with them.
Yeah.
And then just draw cards. Love this thing.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's a good tool. Hey, Kyle, I've already cast this thing I used to draw a card, but I'm going to attack you with it. Can you block, pass on the life, and I can nuke Sephiroth's graveyard? Please.
Please, dear God,
Kyle,
we need to get to that graveyard.
Yeah. It's awesome, dude. And you'll be like, yes.
Absolutely, I do.
Norn's Wellspring, 1 and a white for an artifact. When a creature you control dies, scry 1 and put an oil counter on Norn's Wellspring. You can pay 1 tap, remove 2 oil counters from Norn's Wellspring, draw a card. This is a 49-cent card. This is a great card, too.
Yeah.
Do you have a token deck? Your shit will die. Just put this off to the side and just turn all of that. It's going to happen, man. Your shit's going to die. Like, don't think ever that no one's hunting your board when you have a lot of creatures and you're in a white deck. I just think it's good. It just adds a little bit of a padding to this to the board state that we need to get rid of. You know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? Smothering Abomination. It's 1, a black and a black. When I look at the deck list, Kyle, I go, okay, this shouldn't be here. But then every time I've drawn it and played it, I'm like, this is really good. It's doing me a solid. So this would be our deck's analog of a Phyrexian Arena.
Yeah.
Devoid Flying, which means it doesn't have a color. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. So that's like your upkeep trigger. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, draw a card. It's a 4/3, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's just
So you're guaranteed to at least have that upkeep draw.
Exactly. And I can kind of chuck it at people's skulls. Do you need this deck list, by the way? Are you just guessing off of what I have?
I mean, I'm looking at your OG deck list
and comparing it.
and then I've just been looking up the cards on your
Okay, here, I'm texting it to you.
Cool.
Sorry,
cool.
I forgot to do that. But yeah, I can chuck it at people's heads a little bit, make them lose 4, and then the next turn you can start shoving their life totals down. Last one is kind of a newer find for the Cult of Athreos, and I think it's a good one. It's 2 and a black for a 2/3 Astartes Warrior. It's the Talisman of Nurgle. Lifelink.
Oh, okay.
What is this thing? 7-fold chant. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. If 7 or more creatures died this turn, instead you draw 7 cards and lose 7 life. I can definitely see you getting the 7 version of this, especially if you're in a situation like the ones I explained at the beginning of this conversation, right? Where I'm having to like loop a creature to get something done, to beat something down or whatever, to kill somebody. And then the Talisman goes, oh, okay, well, you had 7 creatures die, lose 7, draw 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, our life total is in danger for real with this deck. But there it is. That's the draw section. That was $9.73. I jumped over the lands, but it's $14.79 for the lands. I don't think the kind of floating price though subtracts the basics, so it's probably a little inflated.
Oh yeah, they do give you like a because they can give you like you can do it without basics, so it's $57.97 total on your deck without the basics, right?
Let's talk removal, another important category for me.
Yeah.
$3.45. Pretty targeted. I think you could go really hard on removal with this deck, but understand that like if we're doing this right and we're using the right person to involve with our trigger, you'll get multiple runs at these things. So if you draw them once, you have quite a bit. I haven't been short on ways to cope with people's plays in this deck.
Okay.
Wispmare, it's 2 and a white for a 1/3 elemental. It has flying. When the Wispmare comes into play, destroy target enchantment. But what's cool is that you can just evoke it for 1 white. So this is like the Shriek Maw for enchantments. So for 1 white, I evoke it. I target Kyle's Smothering Tithe, let's say. Let's just say it's Smothering fucking Tithe. And then I say, hey, Brad, do you want to pay? I just got rid of his Smothering Tithe.
Yeah.
And Brad could be like, are you going to target my enchantment? No, just put it back in my hand. I'd wanted Smothering Tithe gone. Boom.
Right.
Done.
And this talks to other things, right? The evoke thing talks to other stuff,
Exactly.
right? Like, okay, Grim Haruspex is like, sweet.
And Tallyman's like, oh, a creature died. Okay. Yeah. Because it just comes in and disappears. Let's just get Shriek Maw out of the way already. I fucking love the art of Shriek Maw. I hope they never do a new version of it. 4 and a black for a 3/2 with fear. This creature can't be blocked except by artifact creatures or black creatures. The very things that it like can't destroy. When the Shriek Maw enters, destroy target non-artifact, non-black creature. But it has an evoke of 1 and a black. So it essentially like Doomblades something.
Yeah.
It's like a Doomblade and go for the throat limitation on one card, but I evoke it, destroy something.
Yeah, I mean, you would almost never cast it for its mana value, right? Like it's almost always going to be evoked unless you're desperate for that body.
Maw, just good card. I've reanimate it, throw it around. Yeah, but this is a great card to ask the black or artifact deck to pass on the life because I actually cannot target anything.
Can't reach you.
You're playing mono black zombies. I can't target anything.
Yeah, can't get
I was about
you.
to say mono black vampires, but no one does that. So,
why would you when you can play Edgar?
When you can play Edgar, Rite of Oblivion, white and a black for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a non-land permanent, exile target non-land permanent. So this is not a creature, but it's a sack outlet in a way.
Yeah.
It just shoves something out of the game, gone. It also can be flashed back for two white and a black.
Yeah,
pretty dope. There's like a angel version of this, like some angel that's like looking down at you, like all dommy mommy. It says sacrifice.
An angel
permanent.
or a cleric?
It's got an angel on the art, but it says sacrifice a permanent, exile a permanent.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have flashback, so I was like, let me go for the little.
I'm gonna get the 2 uses.
We already talked about Heap Doll. Graveyards are a concern in almost every. I don't know if you've been playing for a while. They seem like.
If you've been listening to us for any amount of time.
If you've been listening to us at all, they seem to be pretty popular playing out of graveyards. But it's 1 mana for an artifact creature scarecrow. 1/1, sacrifice the Heap Doll, exile target card in a graveyard. A creature that can sacrifice itself is really good.
Those are harder to come by than you think. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that whole Berserker thing kind of bestows that ability. And I'm like, hey, it can sack itself. That's sick.
And you have to pay in that case, but like doing it for free
That's true. Dauntless Dismantler. This is also a really good card. Targeting another thing that's happening every commander game you ever play. 1 and a white for a 1/4 human artificer. Artifacts your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. That's great.
Somebody's fond of that.
That's great. You can pay XX white, sacrifice Dauntless Dismantler, and destroy each artifact with mana value X. That's all their treasures. So they come in tapped. They won't get to use them. You're going to burn them off with this thing. And then the person who's not affected by this, or they just, hey man, we need this, right?
Right.
We need it.
If there's a green player, in all likelihood, they're probably not using it.
Right? We need it, right, Kyle? Right. And you're like, yeah, put it back.
Yeah, I actually have this card in my Butts deck, like in not just the Precon one, like Doran just straight has this because it's got a solid butt.
It's 1/4, yeah.
And if you need it to destroy stuff or fuck those guys with the treasures, yeah, it's a pretty solid card.
Yeah, I am over treasures, so you know why it's there. 1 and a white for a 3/1 creature human soldier. It's the Cathar Commando. It has flash, so this is also cool. You can kind of do nothing and flash.
Yeah.
You can pay 1, sacrifice the Cathar Commando, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It has its little cousin, which is the Westfold Rider, nearly the same card, only you don't have to pay mana and you have to sacrifice it only at sorcery speed.
Yeah.
These are just good. Somebody who doesn't use enchantments in their deck, like you're playing an aggro deck or something, they're not interested in paying 3 life. If Kyle's playing one of his many, many enchant lists, I think my opponents are more than happy just to let me keep it so I can keep breaking enchantments.
Yeah, on top of the here.
On top of the Wisp Mare or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the removal section. You could start adding stuff in like Fleshbag Marauder type effects. I don't think those go over very well because they hit everybody. Conceivably, though, if you have somebody who's playing like a lot of tokens, that's token player isn't hurt by that. So you could say, hey, you sack a token, but I can get rid of these 2 commanders with this. Just let it come back in my hand or something.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Edict effects are a little, they make people feel a little icky.
Yeah.
Quick story. I had Sadistic Hypnotist in my original build for this list.
Ooh.
Sacrifice a creature and you can force an opponent to discard 2 cards. You guys didn't fuck with that. You're like,
no,
I don't want to be a part of that.
Short-lived.
Yeah, you're like, it's probably a good idea. We probably should have Tiff lose her whole goddamn hand. She's playing Mirim, and we haven't been able to kill it. We probably should just discard it.
Just make sure she doesn't have
That's the way
any.
we get rid. I was trying to sell it like this. I was like, hey, I can just dunk her hand. We have Mirim. We didn't figure that out. I actually don't have a solution to that, but it's out. But the dragons won't happen if we just work together as a team, and I can just.
She has to top deck the dragons.
She has to top deck it, and you're like, dude, this feels really, this is like Wolf of Wall Street stuff, dude. I don't want to be privy to this. I think you said that exactly. You were just like, I don't want to be part of that. And I look at Chris, and Chris is like, yeah, dude, that feels. Let's just let her kill us.
I remember the thinking at the time is I was like, I don't want to turn her into an enemy because if this doesn't work, she's going to be upset with me and she's going to fucking kill me.
We both go down together, baby.
Right. So I was like,
I took it out. But discard is another thing that you could think about. I just
absolutely
know your play group a little bit. It didn't work.
What do you guys call the cat? Steven?
Oh, yeah. The one that makes a player discard at random. Yeah, I think Brad calls it Steve or something. Yeah, the cat that dies. Let's talk about board wipes. That's another thing that should have high volume. I brought it up to 6 for this deck because, we're behind everybody in card quality. If they continue to pump out good creatures and continue to pump out good stuff, we can just delete it all and then, either force someone to lose life for all of our junk if they want to do it.
Yeah.
Or just recapture ours because we just aren't going to be able to stay on top of people very easily.
Sure.
Creature to creature.
Sure.
By invitation only is a great card. 3 white and a white for a 49-cent board wipe. Choose a number. That's sorcery, by the way. I don't know if I said that. Choose a number between 0 and 13. Each player sacrifices that many creatures. Sacrifice.
Yeah, like not getting around it.
Sort of them phasing out. It's gone. No heroic intervention. None of that. No. What's the white one? Dauntless, whatever the fuck. It's just go. Just go.
Whenever this card gets cast, I'm always thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I could get out of. I might survive this because in my brain, it's one of those that's like, it doesn't necessarily catch everything. Most of the time, it catches everything.
I want it gone. Sack. Bye.
Yeah.
And the word sacrifice matters to us because of some of the cards we listed, like like the freaking the Eldrazi that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It'll draw you cards. It's like, oh, cool, you sacked. Here, Promise of Loyalty, 4 and a white. Each player puts a vow counter on a creature they control and sacks the rest. Each creature can't attack you or planeswalkers you control as long as they have a vow counter on it. Great card. 49 cents.
It's pretty hot as white board wipes.
They keep their commander. Okay, cool. If it's not like a combat thing or something, but combat focused decks, like a Voltron, this is the worst.
Oh, yeah.
It's great for the Voltron player on your other opponents, but they're like, okay, well, I need to figure out that counter. I can't attack. Yeah. I can't attack him for a while. But I just love it because of the sack thing. Massacre Girl's in here because she's a creature. Really, if you wanted to be a little bit more synergistic, you would actually try to look for creature board wipes because they're recursive with what we've been doing. 3 and a black for the 4/4 human assassin. She's got menace. When Massacre Girl enters the battlefield, each creature gets a -1 until end of turn. Whenever a creature dies this turn, each creature other than Massacre Girl gets a -1/-1 till end of turn.
Yeah.
So it kind of sets off this chain reaction where everything besides Massacre Girl gets just wiped out. It just SBAs and can't exist with the condition that she creates. Citywide Bust is a low mana version of something that's relevant to us. It's 1 and a white. Destroy all creatures with toughness of 4 or greater. 49 cents. And then Dusk is similar to white. Destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater. And then it has the Aftermath card of 3. You have to see me like fucking turn my phone sideways.
You're like,
3 white, Aftermath. You can cast this from your graveyard and then you exile it. But then it says return all creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. So it has a way to rubber band.
It's both sides are relevant to you.
Yeah, like somebody had the aptitude or the mind, I guess, and they were like, I've got the acumen. I'm gonna pay a bunch of life, right?
I've got
the fucking acumen. I'm gonna pay a bunch of life off of this. Well, maybe they wouldn't because they're gonna see the dawn effect.
Right.
You know? Oh, well, you'll just get them back anyway. Yeah, but I gotta pay mana. We'll get there. Right? But then they pass on it, and then later on someone doesn't, and then you still have this thing kind of hanging around in your bin.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Voldaren Pariah. 3, a black and a black for a flying vampire. It's vampire horror 3/3. It has madness of black. I don't think there's a way to madness this thing into play with this deck. I'd have to look, but whatever. It's a 5 mana 3/3, but then it says sacrifice 3 other creatures, transform Voldaren Pariah. And then it turns into this fucking crazy thing, the Abolisher of Bloodlines, which is an Eldrazi vampire. It's a 6/5 flying. When this creature transforms into Abolisher of Bloodlines, target opponent sacrifices 3 creatures. Yeah, it's like
3 creatures for most decks is enough to ruin your day.
That's enough to ruin your day. So you can eat 3 creatures, ask someone to pay 9 life to keep them away, whatever they were, and then brick somebody else's line a little bit. You only have 2 creatures, they're gone, or 3 creatures, they're gone, or hey, pick the one you like and drop the rest.
Right.
I love it. And it's a creature, so if it dies, someone has to pay another 3 life to keep this thing out of the game.
Right, it's coming.
So sack outlet, board wipe, it has a lot going for it. It's just kind of heavy. 5 mana is a lot for this deck, but I still think it's worth it.
I mean, you brought up the Portal of Phyrexia earlier. Like, you can get all your opponents to sacrifice 3.
Yeah.
If you want to step up the mana, but that obviously doesn't have synergy here.
That section, I probably already said $3.14 for those.
Yeah.
You could go higher on this. I think that's a good idea to have more board wipes. It's just, I don't love doing board wipe tribal, board wipe kindred, whatever. I'm not super into going there. That 6 is kind of, it's a little on the heavier side. I'm all about really at least having 3. This is typically where I land.
Yeah.
But I've doubled that number.
My Klothys deck has a lot.
Well, it's just, I'm okay. You need to you take a lot of combat in that deck.
Right,
and you have an indestructible commander, as do I with this.
Right.
So it kind of makes sense to have it,
Yeah.
Let's get into the section I just call worthy.
Worthy.
These are the cards that I just don't think people give a fuck about, and they just pass on them. This is the meat of the deck. This is the one that you'll anguish over. This is the stuff that people will be recommending talking about. This is the reason you run the deck, right? $5.11 for 13 cards. So
that's awesome.
To put things into perspective.
That's awesome.
First up is just Doomed Traveler. You remember this from in our Innistrad standard?
Yeah, hell
days?
yeah.
A human soldier, it's a 1/1. When the Doomed Traveler dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Do you think it's worth paying 3 life to keep the 1/1
Hell
away? No. Eye Twitch. It's a 1/1 flying eye bat. When the Eye Twitch dies, learn, which is you can. Oh, there's a discard right here. You may reveal a lesson that you own from outside the game and put it into your hand, or discard a card, draw a card. So
madness,
there's
baby.
the madness.
Madness.
I guess. There it is. But it's just a 1/1 flyer that when it dies, you can kind of just shuffle your hand a little bit. Like you rummage. Love it. It just doesn't seem to be worth paying the life for. Golden Glow Moth, this is kind of the all-star of the deck, I guess. Golden Glow Moth is a 0/1 insect flying. Whenever it blocks, you gain 4 life. Another one that people just don't seem to think it's worth paying 3 life for. Greedy Freebooter, this is a fucking awesome card. It's a 1/1 human pirate for 1 black. When Greedy Freebooter dies, scry 1 and create a treasure token. So it just replaces its cost.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't pay for it, it just can be rebought.
Also, scry isn't anything to scoff at, getting that thrown in there.
It's a better version to me than not better, but a good alternative cousin to the Shambling Ghast.
Yeah.
So you can start doing those loops I was talking about. Say, hey, I just need to keep making treasure. And by the way, I'm scrying
just
my
going to set that top of my library.
Yeah. Miner's Guidewing. It's a 1/1 bird for 1 white mana. When the Miner's Guidewing dies, target creature you control explores, which is, you reveal the top card of your library, put that card into your hand if it's a land. Otherwise, you can put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, then put the card back, or you can surveil it into your yard, or however the fuck you're supposed to do it. Just good, right? If it dies, you get something, and it's a 1/1 flyer. Ornithopter. It's just a 0 mana flying 0/2.
Yeah, I mean, talk about just like junk cards, right?
Yeah.
But it's just good enough.
Sack Outlet, Drainer, Ornithopter, and someone who has the appetite to kill another one of your opponents.
Perfect.
You're there. You don't even need to make mana. It's
you don't need
0,
mana
0,
there.
0, 0, 0, 0. And the way we've set it up is not all your opponents are losing life. Otherwise, they wouldn't participate in that. So the Drainer only targets the one person. They're out. That's why I wish you just didn't gain life, because you'd be like, he's dead, but you just stole his life essentially. But all of his cards are gone. All of their cards are gone. We'll see.
I want to make a challenge for you Cult of Athreos people, because I'm imagining a scenario where you give yourself the ability to play at instant speed, but then you also take over somebody else's turn.
Oh, Jesus.
And you use that.
Do worst fears and make the decisions for him.
Yes.
And I will pass on.
I'll pay 3.
I'll pay. Yeah.
Pay.
Yeah, dude. That's cool. So we need a Cult of Athreos Mindslaver deck and worst fears and what is it?
You'll need this what is it, a shimmering mirror or whatever to do to do this ornithopter play.
Yeah, Vidalcan Ori. Like just some way to hijack someone's turn and then at instant speed do the thing. And Andy will decide for Andy. Andy will not pay Andy's.
Right.
Well, Kyle Andy will not pay for Andy's thing. Yeah.
Achievement unlocked.
That's
if you
crazy.
can build that into your Cult of Athreos deck.
See, dude,
do it.
I hadn't even thought of that. That's wild. Pilfering Imp. It's a 1/1 imp for 1 black flying. You can pay 1 tap, sacrifice the Pilfering Imp. Target opponent reveals their hand, so they show everyone their hand. You choose a non-land card from that. That player discards that card. Activate only anytime you could cast a sorcery. It's just. Do you want to know what's in Brad's hand, Kyle?
I've seen you do this recently where you're like, well, we got a peek at Brad's hand. Let's get a peek at Kyle's now.
Yeah, you're just like, let's see Paul Allen's card. Let's see Paul Allen's card.
What does he do? What is this monologue in his head about where he's just like about the color or whatever?
It's even got a watermark and he's like fucking freaking out.
He's twitching about it.
Oh my God. Oh my God, he's got a crater hoof. And it's even got a watermark. Well, everyone sees it. I think it's useful.
It is useful.
It's useful. It's slower with the tap.
It's also better than what's the there's an enchantment that has everybody play with their hand revealed.
Oh, telepathy.
Yes, it's better than that where it's because telepathy is kind of like obnoxious where everybody's got to figure out how to like play with their hand revealed. This where it's like
it's just the one person.
I just get to take a look. We all get to take a look.
Yeah.
And
I'm down with it.
Yeah, I like
It's been good. The tap sacrifice is a little weird. There's other cards that do this, like there's Mesmeric Fiend, but then it comes back into their hand. You could start doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Ruin Lurker Bat. It's a 1/1 flying lifelink bat this time for a white. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, scry 1. You descended if a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I think they hit the graveyard no matter what, even if they pay. Like that, I think happened. Check me on that one. But I feel pretty sure you can just scry. Either way, it's a 1/1 flying lifelink that does more than just fly and give you lifelink.
Yeah.
Shambling Ghast, we talked about this. It's the zombie. It's a 1/1 for a black. When it dies, choose one. I gotta read these. Brave the Stench. Target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So there's a version of this where you have to use all your black mana, but you can kill something that really needs to go.
Yeah.
If someone participates.
Hopefully
you'll have something out that's like scry as you do it, like the Norn, like that's why those cards are there. Is that if you get in these positions, you can just
you get some
Norn's
synergistic
Wellspring like
value.
crazy to get your whatever you're gonna need.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
the synergistic value accumulating across the board.
Exactly. Search the body. Create a treasure token. That's the one where you can keep going. Right?
Yeah.
So that way you're not really using new mana. You're just repeating the process with the treasure, or banking the treasure for later.
Whatever.
Toppelgeist. It's one white.
We hate treasure, but we're going to use it.
Yeah, we fucking hate treasure, but only when other people have it, which makes sense.
Right.
White for a 1/1 spirit. When Toppelgeist enters the battlefield, tap a creature an opponent controls. Delirium at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. If there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, tap target creature that player controls. Pretty good, dude. It can knock things down, make people more vulnerable to attacks, keep people from getting mad at you with their big creature. The Delirium doesn't happen often in this deck, but it does. It can.
Yeah, because you're pretty heavy on the creatures, right? So getting the 4 different types might be hard.
Yeah. Last one is the Tribute to Hirobi. So it's another one of those sagas. It's 1 in a black. Its first and second chapter has each opponent creates a 1/1 black rat rogue creature. Everyone just makes a rogue, not the Death Touch rat. They just everybody makes a rat. Everyone makes a rat. So if nothing happens, there should be 6 rats out there. Then you can, at the final act or chapter or whatever, it exiles itself and comes back as the echo of of Death's Wail. Remember Hirobi, dude? It's an enchantment creature spirit for 3/3. It has flying and haste, so it's ready to go when it comes in, because you know how they kind of like exile and come back.
Right.
When Echo of Death's Wail enters the battlefield, gain control of all rat tokens. So if no one's found a way to get rid of theirs, you grab them all.
Come back.
And then whenever the Echo of Death's Wail attacks, you may sacrifice another creature if you do draw a card.
Ooh.
So even if you don't get those rats, that's not the point.
Fine,
the
you're
point
like, I've got other stuff
you
to
now have
die.
a flying 3/3 haste sack outlet that draws you cards. So it can eat your Toppelgeist.
Yeah.
Or your Fume. Oh, we actually skipped some. Fume Spitter. This is a banger of a card in this deck. 1/1 for a black. You can sacrifice Fume Spitter and put a -1/1 counter on target creature.
It's if you don't know, it's better than it sounds.
It's really nice.
It's better than it sounds.
Really nice, Kyle, to just nerf something all the way down or get rid of it.
Or
it's
to
awesome.
just like we had a game we played. My Clothis deck played against this deck, right? Like you and I were both playing these kind of.
Oh, and she was devoted. I remember.
And
this.
she was devoted, and you and you just did it over time. You were just like, while we're here, I'll just put a counter,
just a little bit of that Parmesan.
There we go.
You know, on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Salt on
and
it.
like eventually she actually died. Clothis died to Fume Spitter negative counters.
Because somebody else was wanting to see her go. They're like, I'm getting annoyed. Keep doing it. I got another one that's similar. It's the Fear of Lost Teeth. Oh, dude, this thing is the
fears.
The language on the art's not that crazy, but like the story on this card.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 1/1 enchantment creature nightmare. As it drew closer, Sam felt her own teeth wriggle in their sockets as they wanted to leap out and join the thing. Ugh.
Gross.
Yeah, like
gross.
Wriggle in their sockets. When the Fear of Lost Teeth dies, it deals 1 damage to any target and you gain 1 life. So it's like a little mini drainer effect, like a aristocrat effect, but it deals damage to any target. So you could, with a sack outlet, just hammer
if you need to hammer a creature out.
Right. Let's say Kyle has a 4/4 that just needs to fucking die.
Yeah.
Something. I can be saying, hey, I have to blow my whole turn for this, guys, but I can loop this Fear of Lost Teeth on and hammer this thing down. I'll gain 4 life in the process, though.
I think stuff like this, as an opportunistic player, can also be really beneficial because it's not uncommon for me to lose track of something like this existing on the board and me blocking somebody's attack that's come my way. And some creature just needs 1 more damage to be pushed out. Like you can use stuff like this opportunistically if you've got a sack outlet where you're just like, all right, you blocked thinking your creature was going to survive combat and it survived combat, but you ain't going to survive the Fear of Lost Teeth, adding that extra damage.
Give me that tooth.
Yeah.
Wriggle that out of your little socket.
Your teeth are going to wriggle.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Similar to the Fume Spitter.
Yeah.
Is why I added it in, because I value that effect.
Right.
How do we feel about that?
I like that set of removal. I hate it, but I like it.
A lot of those cards, I value 1/1 flyers, but there is just too many to list. Think about a 1 to 2 mana card, and that's your...
And all the worthy stuff, yeah.
That's your deck, and that's all over the place. Like, it's all over the place. Let's just talk about outlets really quickly too. $2.48.
Sure.
I got a couple like Viscera Seer, 1 mana, sacrifice a creature, scry 1. So, you've got the tooth, you need to sack it to something. Now you're scrying 1, hammering something for 1 damage and gaining 1 life. That's the idea.
Yeah.
Somebody's agreed to not let it go to graveyard, rather. Flesh Taker. This thing's a little bit of a creep. White and a black for a human assassin 2/2. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, you gain 1 life and scry a card. Or scry 1. Pay 1, sacrifice another creature. Flesh Taker gets +2/+2 until end of turn. It's got a mana barrier in front of its sack, but it sees all this other stuff that's going on, so it kind of... It's an additive effect a little bit when you're... The Voldaren Pariah, you'll scry 1, scry 1, scry 1 if we activate, like that kind of thing. Bartolome del Presidio, white and a black for a 2/1. This used to be the Carrion Feeder for me, but the Carrion Feeder can't block, and if you didn't know that this deck struggles to keep its life total intact, I just needed blockers as best I could. Sacrifice another creature or artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on Bartolome del Presidio. Yeheni, Undying Partisans here too. That was a pricey card for a second, but he's down to 50 cents. 2 and a black for a legendary creature, Aetherborn Vampire for a 2/2 with haste. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Yeheni, Undying Partisan. Really great effect, actually. But then you can sacrifice another creature. Yeheni gains indestructible until end of turn. So it's a really persistent sack outlet that's also a creature, as these 4 are. This count could go up. I guess there's a version of this where you might have 2 less board wipes, 2 more sack outlets, but these are just straight up sack outlets. But you've heard me, I've got ways to sacrifice creatures. Either they do it themselves on themselves, or they bestow it to some other creature, like the Berserker, or the Voldaren Pariah eats them to do the ability. But this is the only thing they do.
Yeah. Yeah. And another budget option would be like a Woe Strider, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, like right. Woe Strider. I don't know, whatever you got in your collection. If you have an Ashnod's Altar, great. Just
throw it in.
I found Ashnod's Altar is not that helpful because of how many pip costs.
Yeah, like you're not going to use the colorless mana that
not often. No. But it's still Ashnod's Altar. Don't listen to my ass.
Yeah, it's a free sack outlet.
Yeah, it's a free sack outlet. It's still Ashnod's Altar. It's still one of the strongest cards in your meta. Let's talk about just in case. Let's pretend that people just don't want to play. They don't want to play ball. I think this is another important component to this deck.
Yeah.
Where you demonstrate a way that they should just pass. You can pull it out anyway. I've kind of backed off this a little bit as I've been playing the game. But if you feel like you have a stubborn play group, maybe this deck isn't for you at all. But this is a way to get around it a little bit. You can just get them out of graveyard on your own. It's a reanimation type stuff. One I have been testing, it just seems like it's good for the mana, is Dewdrop Cure. 2 and a white sorcery, you can gift a card so you have an opponent draw a card. Maybe the person who didn't pay or has been playing along this game. But return up to 2 target creature cards, each with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If a gift was promised, instead return up to 3 creature cards with mana value 2 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. So if
3 for 3,
if someone paid all that life, you can just throw them right back into play for 3 mana. Like they just got burned for no reason.
Yeah.
Really. Luris of the Dream Den is kind of a pricier card. This is another problem with this budget list, is these cards are typically not cheap. Like Phyrexian Reclamation.
Oh,
like
sure.
But these are the ones I could make for the budget. Luris of the Dream Den, it's 1 in a hybrid white or black for a legendary creature, Cat Nightmare, 3/2 with lifelink. During each of your turns, you may cast 1 permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. So that's
slow burn.
That's that entire group. They'll come back one way or another. Then there's like the big ones that I think are probably the best for this deck because the quality is so low. It's not really my preference to go 1-to-1 on these.
Yeah.
So one is called just Storm of Souls. It's 6 mana for a sorcery. Return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of them is a 1/1 spirit with flying in addition to their other types. Exile Storm of Souls. They're not much better than 1/1s anyway. In fact, some of them will be improved by this card. But now they're all back, and someone has to pay more life or pass even more triggers.
I've
to
got
keep them
Storm
away.
of Souls in my self-mill deck.
It's fucking amazing.
It's just, yeah.
49-cent card. It's a banger card.
Yeah.
Ascend from Avernus is similar. X, white, white, white. Return all creature cards and planeswalker cards with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Exile Ascend from Avernus. You won't have to put a lot into X.
Yeah.
Like if you've got 6 mana, that's pretty much all your draw and all of your shitty creatures that people were paying life to keep down there.
People were trying to keep out.
Yeah. The last one is Wake the Dead, also a really good card, and it has to happen in a weird spot. You don't keep them, but it does kind of force them to go. I would look at this like they're more likely to come back to hand off of this in the late game. X black for an instant, cast Wake the Dead only during combat on an opponent's turn. Return X target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sacrifice those creatures at the beginning of the next end step. So you're off turn, someone's swinging out on you, I guess. You pop in all your 1/1s. And then you're going to force them to pay the life to keep them down there, or do some politicking and figure out who's going to put them back in your hand.
That late really game scenario you just described with that Wake the Dead is a pretty hot thing that you can probably plan on happening a decent number of games.
I love it that it's instant. I look at it more like they're either going to pay even more life and they're going to go way down and hopefully I'll capture something else, or it just ends up back in my hand.
Yeah, and it's a big swing, right?
Candidly, it's probably the weakest in this deck. It is really, really powerful in decks where, again, your card quality is really high.
Sure.
So like my Dance Macabre deck, it's crazy because you're just... They're big. They're big creatures. They do big bombastic things when they enter and when they die, where here they're just... and then they disappear. You know? So
all right.
I like the let's do them all type effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phyrexian Reclamation, Tortured Existence, those are other ideas for these cards. I just couldn't squeeze them in. They're like $3-4 cards. Dude.
Yeah.
And that's just, the budget just wasn't allowing
It's hard at that point.
Last segment is just draining people's life. So I left off, the ones that hit everybody, right? Like Elias Ilkor, and like where everyone loses life.
That's where you're at.
Yeah, I really want to try this where I'm only targeting one person. There are a few that hit everybody because it's just good for it. You do want to kind of bring the totals down, but I might be just moving away from those totally. But there's a few that are like, I get why that's still there. It's
sure.
So like, let's get those ones out of there really quick. There's Vran Executioner Thane, 1 in a black. He's 99 cents for a legendary creature, Phyrexian Vampire. That's a 2/2. Whenever one or more other creatures you control die, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. It just does 6 damage to your table. Like it's just 6. That's 3 run. That's like 2 runs at Athreos' trigger. Plus the Athreos trigger is there too, guys. Like you would need to, something died. That's why he's triggering. So either someone needs to lose 5 fucking life to keep it down, or they only lose 2.
I would say this card won you a game because that one that I was talking about, the Klothys one, I had you low. Like my Klothys burn stuff was...
It's a kind of weird matchup because we both don't want people gaining life.
Yeah. I pushed you down low, but
I was waiting for that Sulfuric Vortex.
Yeah, and I actually had it in hand, but I had some life gain going on for me.
So you're like, you need to
and I was kind of like, I need to gain life, but you gained life faster than me with this.
Interesting.
And so
interesting.
I was the wrong play. It's
only once a turn. I think people aren't super freaked out about this one. It's not like a regular drainer, but it's like, it just hits like a truck.
But if you can do it often enough, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good
the Siege Zombie, it's 1 in a black for a 2/2. Tap 3 untapped creatures you control. Each opponent loses 1 life. You don't gain life with this one. That's why I like it. I know that sounds crazy considering all the life we're doing, but it's just a lot to set this one up. Every time this one's died, someone's like, wait, what do you need? Well, I need it and 3 other creatures, and I have to tap those 3 creatures, or not, sorry, it and 2 other creatures.
Yeah.
Tap 3 creatures and do the thing, And so it feels like people go, yeah, you can have that one back.
Yeah.
It feels like
it's not quite like... Yeah, some of the easier paths that you could take.
Right. Serrated Scorpion. I've never used this one, but it shows up in a lot of like our our little church's lists of people that work.
The Cult of Athreos.
Black for a 1/2 Scorpion. When it dies, it just deals 2 damage each opponent and you gain 2 life. So it's like a self-contained Vran. But it's only 1 mana.
Yeah.
Right. So someone has to basically give up 5 life if they really want to see it gone. And then if you've got this other stuff going on, like if you have Luris, it just comes back to who's going to do that? So that sucks. I'm not paying 5 life for everyone else though.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to wear this shirt to bed. I've been wearing it all day. That's gross. That's
a card in that's a card in an upgraded version of this deck where you've got a Pitiless Plunderer or a Phyrexian Altar and a person at a low enough life total that you can just now win the game, right?
If this thing had Death Touch, I'd be all on. I'd be like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Scorpion should, right?
I know, right? Sanguinary Priest. This one's really heavy for the mana, but I like it because it's tough. It's 4 and a black for a 2/4. It has lifelink. It's an Astartes Cleric, if we care. Blood Chalice. Whenever another creature you control dies, Sanguinary Priest deals 1 damage to any target. This is Livin' Sanguinius's dream right here. It's any target. So it kind of does what that Tooth did and the Fume Spitter does, where you can hammer something down. Like if I have something innocuous that just needs, like let's say it's a Topplegeist or something, I don't know, where people aren't super, hey, I need to sack this thing a couple times. I have to use all my white.
Right.
Will you pass on the trigger so I can Sanguinary Priest this thing out of the game?
Yeah.
Any target. I think that's why this thing's 4 mana versus some of the other stuff we've seen. When we're talking Aristocrats.
Yeah, because that is expansive, that it's not just itself, it's whenever another.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And as lifelink, so you get in the life.
Yeah.
Good or bad. Fell Beast of Mordor. This thing fucking rips, dude. This thing fucking rips. It's 4 mana for a 3/3 Drake Beast. Has flying and devour 1. So to remind everybody what devour was about, as this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This creature enters the battlefield with that many +1/+1 counters on it. So it gets 1 counter for every creature it eats. When the Fell Beast of Mordor enters the battlefield or attacks, that's just a thing now, Modern Magic. They get bolt. If it wasn't a sorcery with a body, if that wasn't enough, now we get it on attack where you recast
it's like,
the sorcery.
do something now, do something later.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. But anyway, when it enters the battlefield or attack, target opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on it. It's targeted. The person that needs to come down will. You can and then do it again. It's so fucking sick, dude. I love it's
that's wild.
31-cent card. It's off that weird like art.
That's bizarre because that feels like it could have a home in a lot of different decks.
I know, right? Devour's awesome. So it gets big too,
and
dude.
Yeah.
It gets like, if you sack 3 creatures, it's a 6/6.
Big fucking flyer because it's already a 3/3 for 4.
Let's like work this out. Let's say I have a creature that draws cards. You're going to pay for that. You're like, okay, I want that gone.
Right.
I eat it with this guy and I have 2 other creatures, right? You pass on those. So you lose 3 to keep those down. It comes in with 3 counters on it. You lose another 3.
Right.
It's a 6/6. If we don't do anything about it until we get to my turn, I attack you with it. You lose 3 right off the rip again. By the way, I'm gaining life too. And now you've taken, and if you haven't worked out a block, yeah, dude, this thing is crazy.
It's a good creature, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm a little surprised that as a rare that it's that cheap. It feels like it has a home in a lot of different decks.
Yeah, it's a flying sack. I love it. It was really, one of the people in the chat was like, the Discord chat was like, this seems pretty good. I'm like, this seems like a fucking home run to me.
I shouldn't complain about things being cheap. I'm like,
why is this so cheap?
Yeah, take it and run.
What happened to the freaking Fell Beast of Mordor market? It crashed.
Free cookie smells.
What is this? 07 for the Fell Beast of Mordor? Goodness. I'm in construction. This thing needs I'm a contractor. I'm a realtor. I need this Fell Beast of Mordor to come. I need the Fell Beast of Mordor market to bounce the fuck back, Obama. Falconwrath Noble. This one's a well-known one. It's the budget, more expensive cousin of the Blood Artist. 3 and a black for a 2/2 Vampire Noble. Flying whenever Falconwrath Noble or another creature, so not even your own, dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Really not, it's not very clever, but there it is. It sees everything and it's target. So somebody has to lose it. So I'm valuing that piece more. Here's 2 more that are a little tricky dick a little bit, like little Richard Nixon. 6 a black and a black for a 7/6 legendary creature avatar. It's Torgar, Famine Incarnate.
Oh, yeah.
As an additional cost to cast a spell, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. This spell costs 2 less to cast for each creature sacrificed this way. So really, if you have 3 creatures on board, he's only black, and you munch. And then for 2 mana, when it enters a battlefield, up to 1 target player's life total becomes half their starting life total rounded down. Just yoink. So if somebody's way out of range, they come all the way down to 20. Or if you've just been a little too fucking nuts with your life pays or you've been taking a beating, you rubber band back up to not to half dead.
I don't have memory of games with you playing this, but
never had the need for it. People's life totals are coming down so quick in our meta. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a problem.
I love Torgar,
but it is in my deck because it's a floating sack outlet is is how I view it.
Yeah.
So hey, you're gonna pay 5, so you can work this out.
Totally.
I'm gonna target Kyle. Let's just cut his life total in half. Will you give me these creatures back?
Yeah. Or you're
they're not good creatures, right? Of course, baby. All right. Of course, they're dog shit, dude. Let's go.
Or the other side of that is somebody takes 9 and somebody takes, gets down to 20, like
or something.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're clearly just not anybody's friend tonight. Yeah. Astarion the Decadent, 4 a white and a black for a 4/4 legendary creature, vampire elf rogue. Death touch, lifelink. So he's got a lifelink on him for 4/4. At the beginning of your end step, choose one. Feed. Target opponent loses life equal to the amount of life they lost this turn. Or friend, you gain life equal to the amount of life you've gained this turn. I think this is pretty good. You really going to pay 6 total life? I could choose feed.
Yeah.
Every time anything dies and I ask you, do you want this back in my hand or do you want it in my graveyard?
And now it's not 3,
and
it's
you've got
6.
Astarion looking at you, who's a death touch lifelink. You're likely not to block him. It's a bad trade a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I could just sip on that life total. So I could attack you, gain 8, right? 4 from his lifelink. I could gain 8 right now, or you could lose a lot more.
Right.
I think this thing's great. I don't have it in my deck, but I think I'm pretty into it. It's 6 fucking
It's 6 mana,
which is a lot for this deck.
But the scenarios you just painted, right? Where somebody is looking at, okay, if I pay 3, you could at the end of turn make that 3 into 6.
Yeah.
Like, is one card that's kind of junky worth 6 life?
Fucking life, man. Yeah. Love it. Or let's say you need to go and I'm working you with my Fell Beast of Mordor. I can just really push you out between these two. If I'm really like top ending the game. Seems good.
Yeah, there's some synergies here that are going to really
let's just talk about some sideboard upgrade ideas a little bit. How you feeling about this?
Yeah, I'm liking this budget version. I actually was surprised looking at your current roster list, how expensive that was. Like,
no kidding.
I was a little surprised, but
no kidding.
But this budget version that you've shown
should be fine.
Has all the
exactly
has all the function.
Turkey, ground beef.
Yeah.
Ground
has
turkey,
all the function.
Ground beef. Chromatic Lantern would be good for this list. Like Kyle was saying earlier in the conversation, like it's just very pip demanding and you need exactly what you already did. So I put Chromatic Lantern in my main deck. I don't usually use Chromatic Lantern. Color fixing is just kind of it's almost solved, I think. But for this, it's like, God damn, I got to keep, I'm running out of, and a lot of those weird ideas I was talking about, as many black as you have, you keep doing this. As many white as you have, you keep doing this. This just facilitates that better. It's like a $4 card right now. So it's not really super expensive, but considering where I'm trying to land this budget,
they seem to reprint it frequently enough that it stays $5-ish, maybe under, depending on the point in time.
It's in a weird space. It's not really for ramp. I think it really is just to clean out that problem of I want all of my lands to now be white because I'm going to recast this guy 5 times or 7 times or whatever. I want it all to be black.
Yeah, we don't talk about it that often, but I have some decks like that. Like I use that Dryad in some of my green decks that are really pip heavy type decks so that my, like the Dryad that says your basic lands like tap for, or your lands tap for any basic, right?
Mm-hmm. Claim Jumper, Knight of the White Orchid. These are really great catch-up spells. The Claim Jumper is a 3/3 Vigilant for 3. Essentially, it enters the battlefield. If someone has more lands than you go grab a plains and put it into the battlefield. Then it checks that status again. And if they still have more lands than you or somebody else has, you go do it. So it's a really good catch-up card. It's like it's like a jumped-up Solemn Simulacrum in a way.
Okay.
Flumph is another one that's kind of, it's $2, but it's 1 and a white for a 0/4 flying jellyfish. It has defender and flying, but whenever it is dealt damage, you and target opponent each draw a card. So there's a way where you could probably do like the, I don't know, you could probably do like the sanguinary priest, have it damage this, and you and another opponent like are both drawing cards or something. Like you can use this to, it's awesome.
I'll just say
people don't pay $3 for this. They almost want to keep it out so they can bounce off of it and draw cards.
I actually think this card, to me, whenever you get to play it, it is one of the most important tone setting cards in your deck.
That's a good point.
IMO. Because like people will give you the card draw off of this if they can get it. And you, I think it pacifies people.
Yeah.
Frankly.
It's a good point. It's a good card draw upgrade. It just was a little outside of the budget. I was surprised at that. I was like, I didn't know that one was there. Lands that are also sack outlets, something like Lazotep Quarry. You can it adds diamond, but you can sacrifice a creature, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. It's $3 land, but anything that's both a land and a sack outlet is good for this deck. It's off where people tend to not be looking to destroy it.
Yeah,
it adds to your outlet density. The Pitiless Plunderer is another really good card for this. It's good for a lot of decks, people, but for this deck, it kind of does what the Chromatic Lantern is going to do. And what it also does is it changes all of your creatures into those shambling gas. They die and they leave a treasure behind. So you can use those weird moments to say, hey, I can jump on this guy's whatever with this card and that card and like get that like web going where you can loop the creature and just keep using the treasure they gave you to kind of show, hey, I'm not ramping. I'm just going to use the same thing. Right. So it's a pretty innocuous way to use a Pitiless Plunderer, but you know, that's not a budget card. Everyone knows it. It was really up there for a while. Skull Clamp is $10, but it fits. Is it really? It fits like a glove into this deck. Ish. It's really fucking stupid, Kyle. Skull Clamp's a crazy stupid card, honestly. So I don't know.
It's weird that an uncommon that gets regularly printed in Commander product is that much.
Yeah, I know.
Tells you how good it is.
I know, it's crazy. It's an upgrade, but again, be careful with upgrading this list, right? Like the more you get from what because you could start doing things where, you know, whenever a creature leaves your graveyard, you get a zombie, like with Tormod. You don't want to discourage people. Well, you get a zombie? Yeah. Are you going to pay 3 life to keep my creature out of my hands and keep a zombie off the board? Like, it's counterintuitive. Like, you don't want to make things too lubricated for your opponent. Otherwise, they're just playing bad magic. So Skull Clamp is like right fucking there. I don't care what creature you've got. You're just going to turn it into 2 cards a turn.
Yeah, like I need to thin your hand as much as possible if you're doing that.
Exactly. Like that's a little too much, guy. Ish. It's not the creature. It's the fact that you're going to feed it back to your Skull Clamp how many more times?
Right.
So that one's a little on the edge for me. But if your meta isn't really super dialed in on like prevention of card draw like ours is, then you're probably okay because it's only 1 mana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But it is a pricier card. Taking that like death triggers to another level, kind of like the Asterion. Teysa Karlov, she basically has your opponent do it twice. So if they're really going to pay, they got to pay 6 life. So it's really just like on that effect.
Not to mention how many death triggers are on these creatures.
Right. So she's actually great. She probably should just be in the fucking deck because you're going to get those triggers anyway. She's a great card. Same with Drivnod, but they're not budget. Drivnod is another version of Teysa. Wound Reflection and its cousins like the Aclazotz, Bloodkeeper of Aclazotz, or there's a Bloodletter of Aclazotz. Yeah, the Archfiend of Despair.
Yeah.
Anything that just basically tells your opponent you're going to pay more if you're really dead set on not letting me have this shitty creature.
Yeah.
The problem with these though is that they're hard to get out. They're a lot of mana. Like you got to get up there. I have those examples where I had nothing left to do and just cast it. But because you did pay all of that life, you're like, okay, well, but that's all that happened was just some big burn. I want the stuff back in my hand.
Sure.
So either way, I don't know.
Suffered greatly in that game, but your ability to interact with everybody was diminished.
Yeah. I just don't know how to be on the receiving end of something like that. And they just lose life more. Like when they're dealing damage to each other, except for if I was going to pick one that says, hey, they lose more life, I'd probably do the Asterion because you have the option to do nothing.
Sure.
Right. Well, I'll just do nothing, and it's a floor 4 lifelink death touch creature. I'm liking that. Like the more I'm talking about it, or the Bloodletter, but that's like a $15 card or something cracked because it only triggers on your turn. So people beating each other up or paying life, it's not going to do that double loss. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not really like throwing the fucking game out.
Right.
I'm just on my turn when my stuff dies because I'm having it die. I don't know, man. It's hard to know. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about. Like this is where this deck really starts getting in your head is you're thinking about all the different alternatives. Like, like Bantu's Monument, right? 3 mana.
Oh God, yeah.
Black creatures cost 1 less to cast, but that's only minimally used. Or a good chunk of your deck is black. But what we care about is whenever you cast a creature, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It's $10. But does this keep people from putting stuff back in your hand because it's this?
Yeah, because now they see a loop.
They see a loop. They're like, I'm going to lose life. Well, you're going to lose life anyway. I can deal damage.
So do I take the 3 now or do I take the 3 as we keep going through this?
It's like fuck you. I'll just take it now. That's usually what people will do.
Yeah.
And they'll curry favor with the other 2, which happen.
You cannot have.
Which you can't have. But ideas like this will float around. You'll have people suggest cards. And the thing I'm going to caution against is think about who you play with. If you play with strangers, I don't know how I do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they just need to have really good threat assessment and go, this is worth 3 life. This is not worth 3 life. This is worth 3 life. This is not worth 3 life. But that's the idea of this deck.
Yeah.
Do we want to jump over to mine?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to spend a lot of time on mine, actually. I think it would be a waste of time. I think I'm just going to try to explain why the price is so much fucking higher. So my actual deck is $366.54. If you take basic lands out, it only goes down to like $344 or something. The things that are really throwing the price with this one are those sack outlets. I have a Phyrexian altar because it puts that mana pip right back into my hand. It's great because if I sack Topplegeist, I have Topplegeist mana.
Yeah.
I have the Pitiless Plunderer, right?
Right.
I have Phyrexian Tower, which is a land that you can sack to make black. So if it's a black creature, I can go 2 more runs at it if we're doing some kind of loop, or I can sack a white creature to pump out 2 more black ones, I've got a little bit stiffer draw too. Like I've got that Skull Clamp, welcoming vampires in here because a lot of the creatures that are coming in are power 2 or less. So Tokasia's welcome, those kind of things.
Yeah.
I've got Tortured Existence, Chthonian Nightmare to get things back into my hand and as a sack outlet in the case of Chthonian Nightmare. But Tortured Existence is basically like you discard a card. Hey, it's a discard outlet for that madness cost. Baby, there we go.
Baby.
There we go, daddy. Black enchantment, pay black, choose and discard a creature card, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Yeah. It's just when I have this out and I ask you to pay 3.
Yeah, there's just no fucking
You're probably
point.
more like, what's already in your yard? Do you have any cards in hand? Yeah. Whatever, just take it. That's usually how that goes. Phyrexian Reclamation is another alternative. What else is driving this price up? That Chromatic Lantern.
I think the big thing is your land base, right? Like, because there's like an Agadim Awakening.
Yes, it's another just in case spell, right?
Yeah.
It's X, black. You just return all creatures of X or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. So it's a land and an ascend from Avernus type effect. So it's not really like the meat of the deck, but there's some weird ones though. Like the Standard Bearer. I didn't know this was like almost a $5 card.
Right.
1 and a white for a creature Flag Bearer. It's a 1/1. If an opponent plays an ability or a spell or ability that could target a Flag Bearer in play, that player chooses at least 1 Flag Bearer as its target. This thing's fucking funny. Essentially, when it's out, whatever you guys do, you have to target the flag bearer.
Yes.
And I can use it to curry a lot of favor. Like someone's Voltron commander, it's essentially almost any kind of targeted removal that could destroy that Voltron commander. It should go to the flag bearer first, my creature.
Right.
So I can say, hey, when I drain a spell for you, you're going to give me this thing back, right? Yeah. Okay. It's like a spell skite for everybody, I guess is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But it also grabs enchantments off people. So
true. That could go the other way with a Voltron, right? If somebody's like,
I don't know if you remember, we had a Maisie game where you were very interested in enchanting everybody's stuff with Maisie, but it kept having to go to the flag bearer and it wasn't losing any abilities. So she had like this pile of enchantments on her. And I wasn't going to ask you if you were going to pay 3 because they're all stuck.
Right.
Right. Do you remember that?
I do.
You're just fuck, dude. But everybody else, they're like, oh yeah, that flag bearer is carrying the fire and the flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some other things I've been thinking about with this deck, I actually recently took Braid's Arisen Nightmare out.
Okay.
She's just too much, dude. It's a black Rhystic Study. 1 black for a 3/3 legendary creature Nightmare. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. If you do, each opponent may sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. For each opponent who doesn't, that player loses 2 life and you draw a card. Wow, that's a really great card. But that's
awesome
the problem,
to get her back.
dude. It's like whatever she's feeding on, they will just be like, I can't keep feeding into this like meat grinder. It's so good. And it's honestly an annoying card a little bit to me. So I took it out, even though it's great. I just took it out. It makes sense. It was too much. Brina the Demigod was in here for a while because I just wasn't really aggroing. I had just these 1/1s, but when they attack, 1 a white and a black for a 1/3 flying. Whenever a player attacks one of your opponents, if that opponent has more life than another of your opponents, that attacking player draws a card, and you put 2+1/+1 counters on target on a creature you control. With how many 1/1 flyers I had, I was like, okay, I can actually leverage these a little better with this,
right? And
it was good card draw. But dude, Brina just is not well loved in this meta, dude. People don't love that bird. They don't. Corpse Knight came out. Cruel Celebrant came out. Lysil Core came out because I moved to just like specifically target people.
Yeah, targeted ones.
I used to run Cabal Console of Allocation, and I was thinking about doing the Profiteering Mayor. The thought being, it stays out, it deals damage to anybody who's casting a non-creature spell. And then the person with the creatures is probably not going to pay the 3. But it was just, everyone does non-creature spells. And I'm gaining life. It's just too much.
Sure.
Like, it seemed like you guys thought of it as he's just feeding off the person who's...
It's so weird because I had that dude as a commander. And so often nobody fucking fed into it. But like when I've seen you play it with this deck, I'm like, oh my God.
He's getting so many triggers off that.
He's fucking getting the triggers. The game has evolved a little bit.
Cabal Profiteering Mayor, 1 a black and a white for a 2/4 Human Advisor. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your opponent's control, for each of them, create a tapped token that's a copy of it. This ability triggers only once each turn. Whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This one's becoming more attractive to me.
Yeah.
Because of the treasure thing, obviously. But there's also some angles I've plugged into this. Just looking at different people who play this deck's list, there's a new one they just spoiled named, I guess this is a spoiler for a spoiler, but it's Fumulus the Infestation. 3 and a black for a legendary creature, vampire insect. Whenever a player sacrifices a non-token creature, you get a 1/1 black insect creature token with flying. I'm not going to read the rest. I don't want to spoil the spoiler, but that's pretty good. Like I get to replace it with an insect.
Yeah.
Like the token's just always out there. And the more of these I have, it becomes kind of like a drainer effect. So he does a lot in one card, the mayor.
Seriously.
Yeah.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
I thought that probably should stay in. Here's one I tried and totally blew up in my fucking face. It's called Life Insurance. 3 a black and a white for an enchantment with extort. I did this after I played that game with Cody. I was like, dear God.
Let's do it, dude.
It has extort. Whenever a non-token creature dies, you lose 1 life and create a treasure token. Anybody's, you lose 1 life and you create a treasure token.
Ooh.
It seems so good with everything that I've described in this list, right? With the looping and I don't know, man. It just got me killed.
I'm so scared of these fucking cards.
It got me killed, dude. It was 5 goddamn mana to finally get this thing out. It would just sit, and then something crazy would happen. A bunch of creatures would die, and I'm already like just
So you would like have to extort to keep your life total
Yes.
where you need it.
Yes.
Like,
so it turns into kind of like the Bantu's monument in the end.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out. Like, I honestly think if you're thinking about that, you should just do Bantu's monument.
These types of cards scare me.
Yeah, dude. You basically have to extort from then on because you're getting wrecked.
Yeah.
People's stuff's dying. Your own stuff's dying. It was really, I felt like a home run, dude. I feel like this should work, but it just, didn't.
It makes me want to try it.
I think life insurance is a cool card. It's just that I don't know where it's a cool card.
Yeah.
Does it say token or is it not? Is it just
it says non-token.
Okay. I was gonna say like Rhea Ivor, but she carried.
No,
that's a lot of tokens.
Yeah,
dying.
that would be dope if she's like, okay, if somebody blocks my fucking mites, then.
This one was a bit of a banger. I took it out because it's not a creature. It kind of goes back and forth. It's called Urborg Justice. It's just black for an instant. Target opponent chooses and buries a number of creatures he or she controls equal to the number of creatures put into your graveyard from the battle from play so far this turn. This is another one where it's like, hey, you're gonna pay? Yeah, I'm gonna pay. Okay, you're gonna pay? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna pay. They pay all their shit, and you're like, well, I got nothing else to do. I'm gonna pay 2 black, and you just have to sack has an equal number. It was good. It was good, dude.
Like rude.
Urborg Justice is just
rude.
Urborg Justice is a sick card. Period, but it wasn't a creature, you know. It didn't talk to the rest of the deck.
Just like, oh, rude.
Yeah. There's other cards in here. I just don't want to spend a lot of time on it because it's essentially the same concept, just more expensive versions of what we talked about. That lame, but deck list will be in our Discord. You can check it out. There's one other one I wanted to talk about. It's not mine. It's one of our patrons. I kind of threw this out. Maybe they came up with the idea or something, but I was thinking, can you do all of this, but with artifact creatures?
Oh, so give yourself another building limitation to kind of work with.
I don't know. I don't know if it's a problem. It's been good for me to have Athreos devote, but the commander's more vulnerable as a creature than they are as an indestructible enchantment.
Devoted. I'm thinking actually of your crew fix
deck. I did not
deck.
want crew fix devoted.
Athreos, you're less concerned. That's right.
That crew fix deck, people were really looking to, because of that no max hand size and just the bank of mana that I lost so much if you got rid of crew fix.
Yeah.
Where here it's like, I got to pay a tax. Where there it's like, my escrow account just got fucking raided by the FBI.
Fucking market crashed.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was fucked. But this is Jeffrey's artifact called Bad Robots. Is what it's a more draft chaff, but more artifact focused.
Okay.
Like think the Ornithopter play I was talking about.
Yeah.
So you're agnostic to color. You can really just reacquire creatures a lot quicker, I think is the idea. But then there's all these just weird artifact matters stuff in black and in white.
Yeah.
That speak specifically to this deck. Right? Like you got Vault Scourge, the Swooping Lookout that's a vigilant flying 1/2 artifact. And now you can introduce KCI. So those are really, really strong. Like Ashnod's Altar and KCI, they give you 2 back. Like you can go up and resolve more than you could before.
Yeah.
And the trick again is, I think it's easier here because a lot of artifact creatures are just not that good because they're just colorless. They're not supposed to be
right, and they're
powerful.
Intentionally supposed to be more costly, right?
Yeah. So like Spectrum Sentinel, it's got protection from multicolor 1. It's a 1/2. Whenever a non-basic land enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. Like who's gonna fucking pay for that to stay in the yard?
Yeah.
And it's protected from basically all modern commanders.
Right.
It just can block all modern commanders forever. That's really what it's about. Hover,
because who's playing
Hovermere,
monocolor?
it's a vigilance 1/2 for just 2 mana, flying vigilant. Like there's more trash over here, and I really like the idea of it just being color free.
Yeah.
But then you have like all the Arcbound stuff, like the Arcbound Stinger, that Arcbound
the
Sacrifice,
modular type
the
shit.
modular. Yeah, dude. Like it seems pretty crazy. There was a version of this deck that they were running that it was way too cracked. It had like the Great Machine, like the mill, all, those different artifacts that basically when you put them all together, you kind of win.
Yeah.
But you can shortcut it. There's a version of this that I think is just way too powerful. And basically, if you have a really cutthroat group, you can just say, hey, I can kill these 2 other players. Do you want to just go 1v1 with me?
Sure.
But then I think you lose because your card quality is just really
Yeah,
low.
you take second place.
And you'd have to find ways to recur stuff on its own. All of like Tashar could be in here.
Right.
Like Tashar is another way to do a just in case where you're casting the historic spell and you just bring an artifact right back into play that's a creature. So I do think this version works. They said they're working on it
like
quite a bit.
Fucking rip.
But yeah, like Mycosynth Golem, right? It just says affinity for artifacts. Artifact creature spells you cast have affinity for artifacts. The more you have, they just don't cost anything.
Yeah, and you can use those mirror for ramp because they give you color mana. Like,
yeah, Ornithopter, Paradise Gold Mirror, Lead Mirror, they're all here.
Yeah,
Canoptic Wraith. It just can't be blocked, but when it deals combat damage to player, you can pay 3, sacrifice it, and look for 2 basic lands and put it into the battlefield tapped. And then you're like, do you want to pay 3 for that?
Yeah.
Probably not. Just goes back to your hand. Burnished Heart.
Oh, dude. Burnished Heart in artifact decks. Like,
yeah.
I fucking love that thing.
If you can get like multiple runs at the Burnished Heart, you're probably up and away.
Yeah. Like you've so outpaced mana.
Yeah. And then you got weird stuff like Redress Fate or Lich Knight's Conquest that speaks specifically to artifacts, but then that's insane with creatures. 4 and a black, sacrifice any number of artifacts, enchantments, and/or tokens. Return that many creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you just have like a weird living death kind of situation.
Sure.
Where you just, they're whatever everyone paid for whatever reason, they ended up in your yard. They're now just been swapped with the stuff they're not paying for, I suppose. Redress Fate, it's a kind of a newer spell. 6 white, but it has a miracle for 3 and a white. Return all artifacts and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. They're just back. Pretty wild, dude. Scrap Trawler.
Yeah.
Here's another Arcbound Condor. 2, a black and a black for a 0/0 modular flying. It has modular 3 and it's flying artifact creature bird. Sorry, I'm like reading this crazily. It's an artifact creature bird with flying and modular 3. So it comes in with the 3 counters on it, right?
Right.
Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, target creature an opponent controls gets -1/-1 until end of turn. So you're able to kind of redo that whole Fume Spitter thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
But you just, hey, I can just keep negative. Let me just do this Ornithopter forever. And this thing's just out. Because you need a high density of artifacts to make something like this click. Like I could throw this in mine, but
you don't have the density.
I just don't have the density for it. Yeah. I think it's so cool, dude. I really do. I don't know how to say this. Tesserier's Devastation. X2 black. You lose X life and create X tapped Power Stone tokens.
Mm-hmm.
Then all creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn for each artifact you control.
So you could fucking rip.
Yeah, you could just do nothing.
Right.
But the Power Stones if you want, you can go for Power Stones, or you can just pay 4.
Or you just like, I got a bunch of artifacts. Everything's dying.
Everything's deleted. And it's likely Athreos is not caught in this because you're pretty agnostic to color.
Yeah. Orzhov has a stronger relationship with artifact strategies than I think maybe is obvious to people.
Yes, dude. What's not in here is like the Dross Scorpion that'll untap an artifact.
Yeah.
That would get crazy fast.
Yeah.
That would get crazy fast. Like you would fall into, I think this one is in serious danger of just falling into an infinite combo.
Oh yeah, I mean
Just
you are when you start picking artifacts to play with, right? That are, especially if they're like looping in and out of yards. Yeah, you can set that.
This one's a really
up.
hard line to walk because there's a lot of junky creatures, but then there's ones that we know about like the Scrap Trawler and the Mirror Retriever and the Junk Diver.
Well, like you said, if they
die,
if you throw in something like Tashar or Oswald, you're just like a step away from
just popping the fuck off.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're trying to figure out with this list is where are we at with it needs to be strong enough.
Yeah.
But I don't want to like tip over into infinite combo. That's something any other deck can do that, you know? Like that's not what this is. This is just like
you could if you wanted to do that here, right?
Yeah, you could. I just don't know if you're
not going to get the treatment that Andy's describing though. Like
doesn't fit.
Yeah.
To me.
No.
We have another one that's very clue focused. People just don't really tend to respect clues. So any creature that has like a clue ability, strapped to it. So this is another Divine Reckoning. They have this list that's very clue driven because there's a lot of clues.
Yeah.
Like Warnog, right? He comes down and everybody gets to make a clue or lose life. And people aren't super twitchy about clues as they are with treasures. Rightly so. There's kind of a weird mana barrier.
I don't remember if it was Rage and Owlbear or somebody else that pointed out that, like, you know what? Just like artifact tokens are just valuable for
period.
Just gobbling them up.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to do what they say they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're just vessels for whatever your strategy's up to.
Yeah. Right. Big rip process.
Yeah.
Bond to God, Eternal Bond to.
Yeah.
They all just can eat those permanents when they come down and give you cards and drain people out. But that's their version is like, it's really clue focused, which I think is smart. Like, I don't know. I think there's a version of this where it's very treasure driven. Mine's kind of skirting on that, but treasure is a little dangerous. Like people should, and
it catches attention.
They should put a cap on it for real.
Yeah.
Lenny Woolley's deck is, I think, a good step between the budget one that I put out and mine.
Okay.
It's somewhere in the middle where it's got some practical picks to help it along.
Yeah.
We'll put all this in the Discord channel for the lists for people.
Yeah.
But that one is a good in between. It's very well planned, very well constructed. It's got some stuff though that kind of pull it further up. I think that's just the consequence of the cards just are always tracking up in price. I bet that version of the list was at one point a cheaper one. Mine and his, I think, are the oldest. We made them around the same time by looking at this post.
Yeah.
That we were just like, oh yeah, we're going to go do that. And I was a little less budget focused. I'm like, well, I have Phyrexian Tower and I have Phyrexian Arena or Phyrexian Altar, whatever. Yeah. Phyrexian insert name, and threw them in because it felt just too good to have them in that deck.
Right.
But it's been a really cool thing. I've been thinking lately, like, I don't know, is there like a tribe you can run? Like a zombie kindred type thing where you're doing this, but I don't know, like some of them are just too, you just rely so much, I think, on the person passing on that pay 3 life.
Yeah.
It's just not enough life to really have a game where and they'll lose 3 life. I don't know if that's the way to go.
Yeah, there's a math problem there if it's just all this stuff is making people pay 3 to keep it in the yard. Like you have a math problem if you are relying on that.
Yeah. The only reason I think about zombies though is that they're pretty good at just self-reanimating anyway.
Right.
So can you just like burn people? Some of them get away, some of them don't. And then you just reanimate them all anyway.
Sure.
So it's all just like a waste of time. It's just this indestructible enchantment that's hanging out over here. I don't know though. I'm really happy with the way this one works.
There.
Yeah. I just want a zombie deck like really bad. But I like how this one works out. It's a solid deck. It's fun to play. I hope it's not too annoying for my opponents. I've had some pretty weird interactions where people felt singled out or whatever because we all kind of worked together to shove someone out in that one case. But
I mean, I think that's going to be the case whenever you have repeatable triggers and somebody gets focused by repeatable triggers. That is a danger, right? Like if you can't,
it's an Aristocrats deck, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. But you know, it's part of the game too. Like some games have that.
Yeah. What do you think?
It is, I like the deck. It is a very interesting evolution that you've been on in your tweaking the list.
Mm.
And I think it's also a very interesting evolution we've been on as a play group playing against it, because our philosophies on how to play against it have changed drastically.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all decks are like that. Like when a commander premieres against a group, people don't have any like entrenched ideas about how to play against those commanders. And usually people kind of get a sense of like, I would say the timeline you have with a deck. And so they kind of have a philosophy about when to deal with that person.
Mm-hmm.
But Athreos, people have very, very specific ideas on how to deal with the cards, when Andy should be pushed out of the game, when the windows are that Andy needs to be dealt with. Like it is a deck that has elicited very specific thoughts and philosophies.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with winding the like drainers back.
Yeah.
They
curries a little favor.
Yeah.
I think.
It's just where you're hitting everybody. Like no one, and
no one feels bad for you.
Yeah. It was I was like, that seems like a good thing to do. It's just the life gain. They spoiled another one that's like a Zulaport cutthroat, but it's targeting in this new one where it's not everybody loses.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's got to go. I got to get that one in here. So yeah, I love it. I have a great time with it. It's a good list.
That's
Hopefully
awesome.
somebody tries the pre-con. Might have a lot of these cards already laying around, minus Athreos themselves. That's a pricey pickup, but I don't know.
Sure.
Print one or something. What is next? I think we have a pretty big spoiler going on right now. I wasn't going to think that a new flavor of core set was going to be loaded like this, but I feel like we have to do this one.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about it and figure it out and get it out there.
And then you have something you're working on?
Yeah, I may turn to the Tech Tutor patrons a little bit for this. Because I've been thinking about doing an episode of cards that are my like big example is Parallel Lives versus there's that sorcery that doubles your tokens once for the same
Second Harvest.
Yeah, Second Harvest.
Yeah.
And so, like, do you want to pull the attention of a Parallel Lives, or do you just need that one moment of doubling your tokens and you're good? Like, I want to find examples like that and just kind of see if there's something to play with a bunch of different archetypes with that. But I may need some patron help with ideas around that because I have a few in mind. But
yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just be up to that then.